Hello, everybody. I normally start the show. I'm trying to figure out in my brain how to do this, logistically, how to do this. Because I have my show open, but I've just felt I felt called this week to honor Scott Adams and his legacy, a mentor who I unfortunately did not get the opportunity to connect with personally. But I've been listening to Scott's shows for years. Yes, Patriot Warrior Texas, let's get ready to rumble. Join us on Rumble. Tell your friends, bring more people into our Rumble. Hit subscribe. We need to grow these channels, people. You're our foot soldiers out there. I don't know how to organically do it. I do know that the algorithms seem to be biased against us, but everything and anything you can do to invite your friends, grow the show, please hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, all of that. But yeah, I have my intro to the show that starts with me enjoying a beverage. In fact, I'm drinking as I'm waving as the first couple of seconds tick off with the live stream feed so that it can catch up to the other devices and make sure that there's not a couple of awkward seconds where I'm talking, but the feed didn't actually start. So I'm drinking during that. However, the way I wanted to start today's show was doing the Scott Adams thing. It is the thing that I did yesterday on stage at the Comedy Club. I may or may not play that for you. Ooh, you know what I might do? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm very guarded on the comedy because it's like I'm going to the rec center and I'm just playing some pickup basketball games. I don't know if I'm ready to send it out to scouts yet and like, hey, look at me. I'm a finished product. I should get a scholarship. It's like, man, I'm working on things. I'm working on drills and conditioning and shooting and form and technique. And I don't know if it's ready for public consumption. I was wondering, should I put it up to as a members only post on Patreon? And maybe coming up, maybe that is something I could do. Maybe I would start posting for members only, either on Locals or on Patreon. I don't know. I'm still figuring that part out. But you know me. I've got a stack. I have a stack of to-do list things, such as a new intro to the show. There's so many people I've talked to and so many events I want to I want image after image after image after image after image and show you kind of a little bit more of where we've been in the past 15 years. Blake did a great job putting something together when he created the Agree to Disagree show intro with He and I. Then I took components of that and compressed it down, added a couple things, tweaked a few things for the Agree to Disagree show that I'm doing solo. But now I'm like, I need to do that. I know, just add it to the list of things I need to do. But let me think about that as the show goes. Maybe if I felt like I nailed it, maybe I would feel a certain way. But like, even as I was doing it, it didn't feel like it was coming out right. Something about the microphone, it had a different sound to it. And it's like everything you do, you learn. Everything is practice. Everything is trial and error, technique. So welcome to today's show. I really just wanted to start simply and basically, but I will do that. But it just reminded me that in my set last night, maybe that's what I'll do. Okay. I'll take the component of what I did last night as the simultaneous sip. Then I'll play you the show intro. Then I'll actually do my show intro after the... Okay, that's how I did it. Thanks for being a part of this part where I dump my brain on the table and you get to... Because I'm the engineer, I'm the producer, I'm the showrunner, I'm the on-air talent, the coordinator, all of the... Whatever the jobs are, it's like, here I am in real time figuring this out. So yesterday I Oh, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do a because I noted some analytics of the last Bobby Kennedy message to Bob Weir of Grateful Dead. The analytics seem to like the minute video. So I think I'm going to keep doing the Bobby Kennedy minute. But on stage last night, I did. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll show you. Maybe I won't. But I mentioned the Grateful Dead and worked it into the episode. Marion says she waited for an ad and you're here now. Yes, I remember. I'm getting better at remembering. Like before I go live, sometimes I'm just like act and then think on it later. Just go. Because in a way, if you don't do that, I was talking to my friend, unfortunately, his good friend of 20 years is dying fastly from pancreatic cancer. Took one of my friends from my Dynasty Football League a couple years ago. It's just this pancreatic cancer thing, man. Like it used to be 70-year-olds. Now it's 40-year-olds. Something seems off with that. But he was talking about the tribute shows and they're doing fundraisers. Oh, I want to get that to you. You know, once again, looking at analytics, looking at the month of January, it's like, all right, we got half a month left. We got half a month of Rumble Rant, Super Chats, donations on Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all that stuff, trying to keep track of where we're at each month to figure out where the expenses are coming. But I do want to ask the community. I want to share with you the GoFundMe for this guy. This guy came out and performed the benefit concert for my brother when he passed away a couple of years ago. And the music community kind of needs to look out for each other. So I do intend to share that GoFundMe account. If I don't get to it in a minute, remind me, because I don't know, it's in a text, but I can't get text to my laptop. And then how do I get it from my laptop to the Restream to your Rumble? Let me figure that out. It might take a second, but I do want to share that as a call to action, because, you know, if you know that your time is running up, as it was for Scott Adams. So my brother wasn't that fortunate. He got sick. It got pretty bad pretty quick. Went to the hospital. It was bad, and he was gone. You know, are you luckier if you get a couple of years or a couple of months, a couple of weeks to kind of get your affairs in order, or just it moves fast, it happens fast, or it happens simultaneously, instantaneously? You know, this is all temporary. This is all temporary time. But yeah, Scott Adams had been taking time putting his affairs in order, and his ex-wife Shelley is going to be helping run his estate and the Dilbert and the Coffee of Scott Adams. I think they're calling it the Scott Adams School now. I don't know what the long-term plans are, short-term, long-term, but just a lot of ruminating on the end. There's been quite a bit of rumination on the end. So I felt the calling after my show was uploaded yesterday. Wasn't that was a difficult, challenging show yesterday, right? But it's a good show. And we're all trying to sort this out together. I did share a clip of Joe Rogan for today's program that we'll get to, where he's talking about, well, I see the side of the people supporting ICE. Like it's a majority, it's a popular, like a majority of Americans want the people who snuck in to go back to where they came from. And if you want to reapply and walk through the front door, run a full criminal background check, figure out how you're going to assimilate, how you're going to learn the English language, how you're going to support and defend the Bill of Rights, the civil liberties of the Constitution of the United States of America. You don't just get to come here and do as you please. Like there's a process. You don't just go to college. You have to apply. There's a waiting period. You have to write essays. We got to figure out what's in your heart, what's in your head. That's an impossible thing to do. But you don't just waltz in. You don't just get to sneak in the back door and then start reaching your hand in everybody's cookie jars, taking. You know, I think there should be a place in America for people that want to show up the right way, check my background. I'm not a bad dude. I've never harmed a kid. I've never, you know, I'm not convicted of anything. Like I'm a good dude. I want to be or a lady. I'm a good dude and I just want to work hard. And all right, you want me to pay into the system, this Ponzi scheme, because baby boomers weren't having enough kids. The Gen Xers, the millennials are not having enough kids to replace the tax base as this older group is retiring. It doesn't make sense. We're not having 2.3 kids or 2.4 or whatever the replacement number actually is. You sort of need some immigration, but you don't need immigration from places and people that are going to try to fundamentally transform your nation. It was weird because I pulled up that clip from Obama, but I couldn't find the video. That right there. That means when we get to that segment, you might need to hear me. You might get to hear me do my Obama. I was actually trying to find his video, couldn't find it. So, yeah, well, that's the stuff on my mind at the top of the day, top of the show here. Finished the program, and I said, I just crying the past 2 days. I'm not like all day. I'm just weeping. I'm inconsolable. But it hurts. This dude was a true mentor. Years and years of 7-day shows. If I had an hour to kill, an hour and a half, a little bit of time, and I could just catch up on the news, I could be doing gardening, edging, mowing the grass, working in the garage, working in the, just doing things. And I could just, so yeah, it was like losing a friend. And that's what my brother Brian is going through with his buddy in pancreatic cancer. And it's been weighing heavy on me. And I just said, you know what? I want to go out. I want to go to the comedy show. And on the way there, I'm like, what could I do? Do I have anything? Do I have 4 minutes? You get 4 minutes to perform. I'm like, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have? I'm like, I'll just go back to my Bobby Kennedy. I'll add a few more jokes to it. I'll tweak it. Add a couple current things. And I also did an homage, Bobby Kennedy Jr. paying tribute to Scott Adams. The context was raising a glass of bourbon because we're naming bourbon the official drink of America's 250th birthday party. A truly American invention. But in the cheers, I said, so let's all raise our glasses. Everybody grab your drink, put them up in the air. Because all you need is a cup, a mug, or a glass, a tankard, chalice, or stein, a canteen jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like bourbon. And join me now in the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip. And it happens now. Go.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is BrianEngelman. Today is Thursday, January 15th, 2025. And this right here is the T-Dam Daily Show on the new American media. Of course, that's because the old American media has failed you. On today's program, we are going to discuss the defense of America from a deep state Democrat fundamental transformation. A week from today, I booked Dan Johnson. We're going to talk about ICE, defending America, civil liberties. I might see if I can add to that show if there's others that I can bring in. I don't know if I can. I would like to. I think it would be more productive, more illuminating. I think it would be a better roundtable. So let me see if I can get some invites on that. There's one particular person I have in mind, a colleague, a mentor, a friend of the show, Mr. John B. Wells. Dan and I have a connection with John B. Wells. We all kind of coalesced with the Solutions Institute. Dan was putting that together, and we had ActCon, Activist Convention. I believe John B. was a speaker. I was a speaker. I mainly talked about event planning and the things you need to think about before you want to get these grand ideas of putting an event together and changing the world. It's like you need to have a roadmap. You need to have a basic understanding of what's needed and what the questions you need answered. And you need a team. If you try to do everything yourself, it's going to be difficult. And you know, that is sort of where we find ourselves here at the New American Media and the TNAM Daily Show. Just trying to do everything yourself is kind of difficult. But your support makes it all worth it. So just a friendly reminder, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. We do show up on the street corner every day. We open the guitar case. And if you like the songs that we're playing, like I did yesterday, I went out and performed, did my comedy act, my comedy routine. And then afterward, I went across the street, as I sometimes or often do. I'm already out. I don't usually go out. I'm not really a going out kind of guy per se, but I am, but I'm not, but I am, but I'm not. I guess you guys probably can relate to that. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. And yeah, there was a gentleman playing the guitar in the corner, and I walked over. I'm like, hey, do you take requests? He's like, yep. I go, how about this? And I put $1 down. He's like, oh, and so he played it, and I came and did it again. I came and did it again. And started talking to a guy that was in on work, visiting. A lot of people in and out of just looking around for something to do. A lot of people in on work related purposes and showing up. And he said, yeah, I'm in looking around. I'm here for work. And we just got to talk, and he was over there and I was over here. And I'm like, hey, I'm like, why don't you come on over? And so he left the booth and he came up and we started talking. And, you know, I told him, I'm like, dude, if there's a song you want to hear, like, give him $1. He'll play it if he knows it. And we just got to talking, and you know, dude had some heavy stuff on his heart. You know, he was talking about his 2 children, and was talking about the love of his life, the best person, like, I mean, best friends for 15 years or something, grew up in the same town, and he prayed to God that he would find his soulmate. He goes, I don't care what they look like, I don't care height, weight, color, none of it. Just I need someone I can create a family with, and you know, I'm asking for that. He asked for it. He called for it. He said a prayer for it. And he found a lady that was great. And it was someone he had known his whole life. But then they started dating. They got married. They had kids. And she suffered from seizures. And, you know, she said she got, you know, she never locked the door. And when, you know, taking baths and stuff, or as you never know when an event would happen. But, you know, she took her bath. She was done. She did her hair up. She was dressed really nice, and she had a seizure there, and she passed away. He's like, I came in and found her, and you know, it was a tough story. It was a heavy story, and I told him, I said, yeah, I just, you know, this Scott Adams thing, just mortality, it's hitting me hard right now. Like I'm sorry about your wife. I don't know what that's like per se, but you know, my mother and my brother, it was tough. And anyway, I said, so what are you requesting a song? And I think he did one song, and then we kept talking. I'm like, go put another song in. He's like, well, there's this one song. And he goes, I don't know. He goes, it meant a lot to her. And I go, well, you're talking about her. You're thinking about her. Play it. See if he knows the song. And he went out, put the $1, and, you know, you don't do it instantaneously. Sometimes you do. Anyway, the guy started playing the song, and the guy went and sat at the booth, and tears in his eyes, and he's at the end of the song, he's just like wiping away some tears, and he got back up from the booth, came and sat on the bar stool up where I was at, and he just kind of said, as men often do, like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you don't need to apologize for anything, but it's like our instinct. The men in particular are just so all day, just no. It doesn't mean about being handsy or something. It just means like, and maybe it happens to women, but I don't think it's the same. Men are constantly criticized. There's really not a support system, not a support network to vent, to express emotions, to let emotions out. Nobody cares. Men are on the losing side, the wrong side of the stick when it comes to separation agreements and divorces and custody and payments and no fault divorce. And it's so hard. It's so hard to get married. It's so hard to have a family. It's so hard. But, dudes especially just carry around a lot of weight. When I called my buddy, I'll call him my brother, Brian. Known him for a long time. He, his band performed at Chris Stock to help raise funds for my brother's widow's family. And, and it's like, it piles on, it's just, there's a lot that we're all dealing with. And, the guy that I just said, I got to get out. I want to express myself. And I was able to work in a tribute to Scott Adams in my set. That made me feel good. I was able to put it somewhere. And the guy started playing. He played Boy Named Sue. I requested it. He actually said, why don't you come up here and sing it? But I think he forgot he invited me. And I pulled it up. I was ready. But his set ended. And it was cool. It was great. Like, I don't ever want to turn someone's night into me to any degree that they don't want to participate in that. But he was really cool. We were chopping it up. And he's like, well, how do I sing that song? Must Be the Whiskey. How does the melody go? And so I start singing it with him. He's going through. He's like, all right, I'll give it a try. I've never done it before. I'm like, I appreciate the hell out of it. Thank you. And I'm tipping him. And I'm like, whether I'm being too much for this guy or not, like, he's over there in the corner. You know how many hundreds of shows we've played in the corner of a bar where people, are they paying attention? Are they not? And it's like, if you can connect with a couple people that night or one person, all right. It was something, there was something there. There was something worth doing. So I, in my pain, in my need for expression, I have decided I've got to sing more this year. I must drum more this year. I must play more guitar this year. And I must get on stage and perform more comedy this year. 100% something I need to do for my soul. I go for stretches where, and how many times would I play music with my brother, when he was around, and like, that would be a catalyst to make it work. So it's like, sometimes I never really enjoyed just sitting around and banging on the drums by myself. I like jamming with people. Like, there's an energy exchange. Who's that comedian I was just watching? I can see his face. He's like, we're all made out of molecules. I'm made of molecules. The air is made of molecules. This bar stool is made of molecules. And while I was talking, some of my molecules went into the chair and some of the chair's molecules went into me, and none of it makes any fucking sense. Pete Holmes, underrated comedian. Hopefully he rolls through town soon. I want to see him. But one of the huge benefits of being a local comic at this particular club is they allow you in. You just go on. Okay. You don't pay cover. You just sit in the back and you observe and you soak up like what the professionals are doing. It's awesome. It's great. How are you going to get better if you don't watch the best? And you get to see them. But yeah, it's like, none of this makes any sense. You think you're on Earth. Zoom out. Zoom out. You're on a rock hurtling through nothingness, and the nothingness is expanding, and it's ever expanding. It's going to keep getting bigger. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So when Scott Adams on his deathbed says, I'm going to convert to Christianity, it's a risk-benefit analysis, and people like Jason Whitlock or, might criticize that. And like, I don't know. I don't accept this it doesn't seem like a real conversion. It's like, End of the day, nobody knows what happens when you pass. You might as well pick a ping pong ball, say, all right, I'll be a Christian. Who knows? It's how I was raised. People around me, generally good people that I've known. Yeah, hypocrites. Yeah, there's hypocrites everywhere. Yeah, well, some of those Christians are hypocrites. Yeah. Unlike you, Judgy McJudgerson. We're all guessing. We don't know what happens when we go. We hope on the other side. You know, the visual I like to think of, close the eyes and just kind of I sort of see a room. I see might be, sometimes I view it differently, but like right now it's a little bit like what was it called? The Gibson Amphitheater City Walk at Hollywood. What was it called? The City Walk? Universal Studios City Walk, maybe? Sorry, I'm trying to remember all these venues I've been to. Kind of an open tables and chairs and stuff, and maybe a pavilion and like an overhang over the bar. And I kind of like, I see the pearly gates there, and I see the people walking in, and they kind of walk through table after table and make their way up to the bar. And an iconic photograph of my brother that we used was him as a sommelier holding a wine bottle, smiling. And I just kind of like envision him behind the bar as the barkeep. And I envision Scott Adams walking through the pearly gates, coming up, and what do you know? And oh geez, with Scott, my brother would have a cup of coffee there waiting for him, because as Scott so famously has saved the lives of countless individuals with a simple brain reframe to say alcohol is poison. If you find yourself drinking too much as an alcoholic, just say the phrase, alcohol is poison. Don't do it. And just time and time again, he would get letter after letter, email after email, tweet after tweet. That simple reframe changed my life, and I've turned things around. So in Scott's case, he would walk there, and my brother would have a cup of coffee waiting for him. And he would probably say, all you need is a cup or mug or glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, canteen, jug or flask, or vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee, and join me now in the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go. I bet Scott would chuckle. Maybe even brush away a whew. So, yeah. I needed to get out for my sake. That gentleman, you know, he had some heavy stuff on him, and that interaction, me going to the place, then bouncing across the way, already connecting with the guy playing music. Just like I tell you, I'm here playing music, and if you walk up and throw tips, hey, that helps put the gas in the tank to get there. Pay for parking. It's just like, it's not even to like get rich, it's just to break even with the craft that we love, because that song meant something to this dude, Jacob. I can say his first name. Nobody will ever know. Don't want to air personal stuff. I mean, it's okay. You can't tell stories without names sometimes, but he had a moment of some release. Something was lifted off of his shoulders. It felt good for him to hear that song. We were talking about, he was so lovingly talking about his departed wife, and showed some pictures. And then I talked with another gentleman. We ended up going to a secondary place right around the corner on the way back, and he's telling me about, he's got one kid with his significant other, and 3 months in, she's pregnant. Or in 3 months, he'll have his second with her. 4 total. And we had many conversations about many different things. He had stuff he needed to get off his chest. And, that's part of what we do here on the T-Nam Daily Show. We get some stuff off of our chest. Sometimes we don't know what we're feeling until we start talking. That's how I find myself to be. That we've already established I've got a interesting brain. Brain having been my nickname for a very long time but I don't know if you are wired in a similar way, but But I've also had years, decades really of coaching with psychology degree and journalism, but like therapy and counseling sessions and trying to talk things through and think things through. And, in a way, that's what Scott Adams' show was. It was a way to think through the news of the day. And that's what we try to do here. And thank you for joining us today. Patriot Warrior Texas over there in our Rumble chat. Yes, cheers to the rabble rousers on Rumble. Here's a TNAM challenge of the day. Jump over to your Rumble account and say hi on Rumble. If you don't have a Rumble account, can you put it on your to-do list? Sign up, subscribe to us. Just for funsies. Just for funsies. Should YouTube one day decide I'm no longer allowed to earn my living? I can't play my guitar at that bar anymore and have people come up and tip me? Rumble is a great way. If Rumble didn't exist, you might not have met me. It was pointless to try to continue building a home on the quicksand of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Meta, Google, Google, YouTube. If Rumble wasn't a viable option, and you could include X gonna give it to you. You could include X. I wouldn't be doing shows. At least now I have a chance to get the message out. And if it resonates with you guys, thank you. Because your energy keeps me going. It's this whole thing. It's networking. It's unpacking, reframing, understanding, skepticism, fact finding, all of it. And yeah, just a lot in the cranium the past couple of days. Felt similar with Charlie. Totally different way. But there was just a sadness, an emptiness, a pain, and with Scott, it's way less anger and rage than it was with Charlie, because it's like you don't get to take us out. You don't get no. You don't get to silence us. That's not how this works here. So thanks. Thank you all for being here. Speaking of which, let's bring you onto the display here. Good morning, Trash Panda, Texas. Of course, Kenneth is here. Kenneth B2. Yeah, for some reason, one day YouTube's changed their names. I don't know why. Now it's like Droopy Dog 8223. Well, why'd you get 8223? Did you? Just one day everything changed. I don't know why. Marion Cook's no longer Marion Cook. She's Marion Cook 839. Hello, Marion. Saying, yes, I waited for an ad and I'm here now. Yep, I did remember that. Thank you. But yeah, tip jars at the bottom there. Rumble Rants, Super Chats. You can do the subscriptions on Patreon, monthly subscription on Rumble, monthly subscription on YouTube. They all help. But yeah, scrolling at the bottom of the screen now. Let's see. No, I mentioned Joe Rogan, not Joe Rogaine. Although did he try Rogaine? I don't know. One of the more famous bald people. Scott Adams, famously bald too. So you want to go to college, huh, essay? If I were wearing a button-up shirt, I would button this one up to the top. You got to do that. What's the matter, essay? Don't you know I'm loco? Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Whew. Marion says, but you do a fabulous job by yourself. Talking about how it's putting on events, and if you have to do security and advertising, marketing, hospitality, logistics, transportation, it's a seemingly endless list until you break it up into subcommittee directors. It's like, all right, you're in charge of these 10 things. Here's 5 people to help you get these things done. If you have a competent team of people, you can move mountains. But when you got to do it all yourself, it's tough. So thank you for the kind words that I do a fabulous job by myself. Well, me and Jamie. It's so stupid. In my Bobby Kennedy video, I think both of them. I forgot to do a short yesterday, or I was so exhausted when I was done. I'm like, I'll just go to the comedy club. I'm not going to do a comedy short today. But yeah, I'm sort of in love with the concept that Joe Rogan will call out, excuse me, that Bobby Kennedy Jr. will deliver his 60-second fireside chat. I keep doing this. I don't know what's going on. What does it mean if you're must question of the day? You've heard that, like if your hand's itching, it means money's coming, or if your ear's itching, it means somebody's thinking about you. I don't know. People, there's all versions of this. Question of the day: if your mustache is itching and you keep fiddling with it, what does that mean? Question of the day. Type it in there. QOTD. Mustache means fill in the blank. I'm realizing I keep doing that. I'm like, what am I? I'm realizing that like I need to trim the beard. I'm probably ready to edge it up. Probably time to go in for a haircut. Question of the day: what does it mean? But I am sort of enamored with the Bobby Kennedy where he's delivering a point. Jamie, could you pull up the image that I wanted to show you? There's no Jamie, but the image comes up. Or that Jamie just walks around, or Jamie's everybody's assistant. You know, don't worry about Siri, worry about Jamie. I don't know. It just cracks me up anyway. But thank you, Marion, for that. Okay. Let's see. Droopy Dog says, I've tried to say that about drinking, but I always seem to slur my words. Clever. Yeah, I have, I've been a bartender for a while. I've met a lot of people. Marion, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have a mustache. Droopy Dog. I don't know. Lice? Yeah, I mean. Mary said, yeah, your words are all slurred. You mean talking in cursive. That is such a great phrase. I love that. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's unpack the news. We're going to do our X feed today. X gonna give it to you. Also, please make sure for football fans out there, we have Strictly Football. Season 2, episode 26 is out. Talking about the first week in the NFL playoffs, the coaching carousel, and the college football championship coming up between Miami and Indiana. Miami and Indiana. I did not have those two teams on my bingo card this year. But they're the two teams that beat Ohio State, the number 1 team. So they earned it. You can't say they didn't earn it. They both earned it. I wish it was us, but we didn't win those big games. Otherwise, it would be. So, all right, everybody. Let's pull up the image. Make sure you're following us on X. Patriot Warrior, by the way, I'm glancing over here on Rumble. I'm trying. There's things I need to do. I need to engage. There's something here on Rumble now where you can activate the Rumble wallet, but it's like an additional app. I have to download a wallet. What is that? Download a wallet onto my computer? Or I do it on my cell phone? Or how do I get this connected to my Rumble account? Because we need every tip jar imaginable. I'm your bartender. If you like what's happening, we need those tips flowing in. I do need to set that up. It's on my list. I did circle it on my list, so it's been elevated. Every new page, things that are circled should be at the top of the new page because it's like it's undone from the day before. But Patriot Warrior says, I would have never found you in your show if it wasn't for Rumble. Thank you, Patriot Warrior Texas. Happy to have you. Patriot Warrior Texas in our Rumble feed over here. He says, hell yes, a drink to 250th birthday for America and to Scott Adams and to TNAM. Bottoms up, excuse me. Speaking of bottoms up, Patriot Warrior created these mugs. They are the new American media mugs. They're black and white and red all over, like the old newspapers of yesteryear, how you used to get your journalism. If you would like, BrianEngelman, and I'll mail you a mug, $40. It includes $10 of continental U.S. shipping. And we'll get this mailed out to you ASAP. Kenneth has one sitting on his display wall right there, right in front of his office. But yes, cheers. Bottoms up to everybody. Cheers to the rabble rousers on Rumble. All right, what is this? Patriot Warrior says, I have it as an app. I think you're saying that Rumble Wallet is an app, but you also see it on other channels. You will send it on X. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, man, any tip jar. Like, let's get it going. I want this year. Yeah, see, look, and I've got merch. This is a bag of the pins for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. It's awesome merch. I want to get it to you. So for anybody out there, if you want a set of 4 wooden coasters, they're $30 a piece or 2 for $50. Just tell me if you want the Ohio shape or the circle shape, and the pins are $25. All that through Venmo. Just put your address in the Venmo. Yeah, I don't quite feel like paying a monthly fee to open up a Shopify account. It would probably be easy to preload it and just send you to Shopify. But for now, you can just shoot a Venmo and I'll get that mailed out to you. And several of you have asked for it, and several of you have. The coasters, the pins, the mugs, all of it. So, like, let's keep it rolling in 2026. I'm not feeling positive, negative. I started to say that I'm not feeling negative. It's a double negative. And I was like, no, let me say it differently. So I'm telling you what I was thinking, and it sort of defeats the purpose of not saying it the first time now that I'm over elaborating it the second time. I'm feeling positive about 2026. I feel as though this is the year that, This is the year. Something like this. I feel a different sense of calm and peace that this is time. It's time. It's time for something. It's time for something big. I don't quite understand what it is, but I feel like this is it. This is time to get it done. Time to level up, people. So you guys are the regulars. You guys keep the lights on in this place. So thank you all. My audio is going in and out. Anybody else? Yeah, nothing has changed on my side. Is anyone having an audio issue? Because and remember, when in doubt, click the refresh button. Oh, by the way, that might give you another chance to toss a penny in the wishing well for the advertisement to play. But I don't think there's a problem with the audio coming in and out. Let me turn it up on my. And remember, when in doubt, click the refresh button. Oh, by the way, that might give you another chance to toss a penny in the wishing well for the advertisement to play. Okay, on my side, it sounds fine. Is anyone else having any issues? Question of the day, how's the audio? Solid as a rock solid, strong as oak, or wishy-washy like a lefty? Tell me in the comments. All right, as I mentioned, the Patreon, where I might start doing special comedy sketches. That's right here. Pinned at the top of our X account at American_media_. Please follow us. And that's our interview with John B. Wells. That's our Patreon link right there. Let's get into the things people are talking about. And of course, we titled today's show, Defending America from a Deep State Democrat Fundamental Transformation. Oh, this actually, yeah, I guess this is the quote. It's just one sentence. We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Barack Hussein Obama, the Marxist, was not kidding. Americans are witnessing what Obama did to the judiciary, justice system, and every major institution right now. It all leads to Obama. C3 put that out. This is what we're witnessing. Barack Obama said we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America during a campaign speech in Columbia, Missouri on October 30th, 2008. He gave one heck of an effort, I must admit. I don't particularly know this account, Florida for Trump, but let's read what they say. How to destroy America. Unlimited mass migration to oppress wages, benefits, and pensions. Oh. 2, destroy home ownership by over-regulation and mass migration, driving up housing inflation to be unaffordable. 3, force all the people on social programs. Then expand welfare programs. That's the Cloward and Piven strategy, to topple a country by making it so dependent that it collapses, it implodes, and then you get to be king and queen of the ashes. 4, steal trillions of dollars using the illegal as a pipeline. Man, oh man, does that seem absolutely proven, absolutely accurate, absolutely true. Number 5, make sure mass migration cannot speak English and they do not care about America. Well, why would you care? Why would you care? Marion said, refreshed the feed and it's better now. Yeah. The Dilbert filter on life, the way it's kind of like, well, you know what a filter is. If you're on Instagram, you scroll through and there's all these different ways to take an image and make it look black and white or make it look a little bit more this or that, or it's a filter. Like I said, I was never really a Dilbert comic strip fan. I never really watched a TV show. I never really found it particularly funny. It just, I never connected with it. It's not that it's not without its charm. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Or I like coffee, not my cup of coffee. But the filter of how you choose to perceive things, he said the Dilbert filter is that, no, let me not mischaracterize it. I wonder if Grok knows. What is the Dilbert filter in one sentence? It's a persuasion technique or reality testing lens popularized by Scott Adams, where you evaluate news stories, claims, or narratives by asking whether they make sense if the people involved are acting like the absurd, self-interested, incompetent, or bureaucratically trapped characters from his comic strip, essentially assuming corporate political incompetence, self-deception, or hidden agendas rather than grand conspiracies or pure competence. The Dilbert filter applied to stories like the Wuhan lab leak to see if they fit patterns of bureaucratic stupidity and ass covering rather than a flawless master plan. Committed by... Oh, there's some boogeyman somewhere. It's the Jews, George Soros, Obama. You know, I don't know. Everybody, you can pin whoever the grand puppet masters are. And they're like, well, yeah, George Soros, but who's funding Soros? Well, we are. He's stealing from us. It's nonprofits and NGOs. It's all a scam. Anyway, the Dilbert filter. Number 6, how to destroy America. Race wars. Yep, Democrats love pushing that through their lying legacy media, through their Democrat politicians, through the conquered indoctrination systems that they 90% control, trying to warp and brain damage the minds of impressionable kids who want to please their teacher. So they adopt ridiculous strategies to the point where we have to have what many are calling the DEI appointee of Joe Biden on the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson, maybe trying to make an argument that men can give birth and men can beat up women in sports and men should be in women's locker rooms. And this is what you get. This is the backward stuff that you get. But also you get the division of race wars. Obama was particularly effective at pushing that bullshit everywhere. I famously, consistently don't care what you look like, which flying spaghetti monster in the sky you're into, as long as you don't try to force your shit on me. And if you're not trying to harm me, man, we're all just trying to live our lives. We're playing our own video game over here. Let us be, please. Kenneth says, speaking of filters, shouldn't someone come out with a charcoal filtered underwater by now? Oh, charcoal filtered underwear. Sorry, I read that wrong. Thanks, Kenneth. David's here. Good afternoon, everyone from snow-covered Toronto. Charcoal filtered underwear. Wait, David, I thought you were in Ontario. Ontario. Wait, Toronto, Ontario. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Toronto, hold on. Snow covered. How much snow do you have where you're at? Kenneth, you're in Florida. John, Marion, you're in Texas. Everybody else out there watching, if you're not commenting, drop some comments. We love your comments. Let us know where you're at. I typed in Toronto, and my God, it says this isn't India. It's Toronto, Canada. Sorry, but the U.S. is already stretching it seems. Parts of Toronto, Canada resemble American cities as homeless encampments grow, recorded on Richmond Street. Yep, Toronto, Ontario. I guess when I see your name, David, I just think Ontario. I don't think Toronto, but it is Toronto, Ontario. It's going to be the United States soon enough. We shall see. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I know. You guys, snow, what's that? Yeah. So, yeah, race wars. Obama pushing that with the schools and the Democrat politicians and the lying legacy media. Of course, it's so destructive. That is poison. Man, you know, that stuff that they push is poison. Poison, I tell you. Poison. All right, number 7, remove tariffs and allow the elite to bring in all of the American middle-class jobs overseas to India and China. Number 9, pay professional agitators for a color revolution. Number 9, censorship and targeted assassinations. Oh, yeah. Indoctrinate children to believe they can change their gender so they don't reproduce. And number 11, use climate change to stranglehold the middle class and destroy it. All right, there's your Biden-isms. Or I'm sorry, your Obama-isms. Let's do the flashback, though. Under Obama, this was happening. InfoWars shared this. A lot of people are looking at this story today. So here's a flashback where CNN hit the streets with ICE during the Obama administration. I close this. What are we doing? CNN hits the streets with ICE during the Obama administration, praising illegal alien raids in sanctuary city Chicago. Check this out.
Just before the sun rises.
It's a think piece.
Just before the sun rises in the Windy City, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents fan out across Chicago to arrest criminals in the U.S. illegally.
All right. This is back when CNN seems to be doing some fair reporting.
1 tech, 2 tech.
CNN was granted exclusive access to witness some of those raids.
Wait, you mean they're not just out there shrieking like a banshee, hindering an investigation? They're just along for the ride to see? In the sanctuary city of Chicago. These sanctuary cities they're unconstitutional. They're illegal. I don't know why. Like, why haven't we stopped this practice? You know, hold on. This is all right. There's a lot of nothing happening here. Isn't there a quick version of this? The one I saw was like a minute long.
We got 3 targets this morning. You know, some of the neighborhoods a little sketchy, so we got to make sure it's not just the target we're looking after, but other people around us.
They want to come out extra early, like right now, because they want to catch these people before they go to work. That's why it starts so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Check. All right, let's roll, guys.
A
lot of things go through your head. Your adrenaline, blood pressure, of course, goes up when you're getting ready to do something like this. All right, that vehicle behind us is off limits.
How many people are involved?
Cicero, Illinois, 5:30 in the morning.
With this operation, particularly right now?
I have a 5-man arrest team here situated in this neighborhood, here on the street. You see the stoop going up. I have a couple guys sitting right inside that stoop. This is part of what we do. Keep eyes on somebody and try to be as covert as we can. There we go. Is that him in white?
This may look organized, but in this moment, confusion.
There's always challenges we face when it's dark, somebody looks very similar to an individual.
ICE agents mistakenly arrest the target's brother.
Oh, You mean people can be arrested mistakenly while you're performing an investigation? Yes. Yes, it is. Kenneth saying it's 56 degrees there. Yeah, what is it where I'm at? It was cold yesterday, let me tell you. It's dropped down into the, where are we at? Refresh. Perhaps 25 degrees here. The winter hasn't had much snow this year, says David. It's the second big storm of the year. Oh my God, yes, we need an ice show. You know what? Actually, I'm going to send this to my buddy. Hang on. Hey, Bob, one of our commenters, Kenneth, on the TNAM Daily Show just now, we're playing that CNN clip from the Obama administration where they go into the sanctuary, air quote, sanctuary city of Chicago, and they're making 5:30 a.m. arrests. I'm sure you've seen the video circulating where they were not painting ICE as Nazi and Gestapos before they got stupid now with Trump derangement syndrome. But the commenter, Kenneth, says we need an ICE show like the cops show. Bad boys, what you gonna do? So, I mean, why don't we pitch that to your boys in blue? Why don't we pitch that to your true blue people? I mean, how about it? What do you say? An ICE show like cops. If the media, the lying legacy media, is not going to give a fair shake to ICE and try to make them like Gestapo or bad people, instead of finding everyone in the nightclub that snuck in and doesn't have a wristband. It's complicated, it's messy, but it needs to happen. I think there needs to be a show like cops. Kenneth just said it, and I'm like, by the way, I am recording this message to you live on the TNAM Daily Show as we approach hour number 2. But it's a good idea. Embed with ICE and tell the stories. I think it's a hit. What say you? I'm an idea guy. Maybe I just gave Bob his next. I think he has 2 Emmys with his work with True Blue, doing his cop show. I've been helping Bob get his show on the road, on the Restream Rumble platforms, all of this stuff. It's new to him. He's been broadcasting for 28 years. And you've seen Bob France of Strictly Speaking on the show a couple of times. So there we are. Okay. Yeah, but that is a good idea, Kenneth. We need an ICE show. Yeah, sort of like this. Just, you need a better producer.
In the process of talking to him in the vehicle, he then said, oh, no, I'm actually so-and-so. Who you're looking for is over here, this other address. He led us to that address, and we were able to actually arrest the individual we were looking for.
You know what? You can do this when you don't have people honking their horns, blocking traffic, and blowing whistles. They're making everything way more dangerous with what they're doing. The left is. And the Democrats are encouraging it. Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, others, out of control. I don't know why they're not arresting these people. You just arrest one, and then the next one, and the next one. You charge them with interfering with an official investigation. Why is it complicated? Oh, no, it's freedom of speech to shriek in everybody's ears, to block traffic. No, it's not. You can protest. You can offer your opinion. You don't get to decide or you're going to veto law enforcement. Like, that's just not a right that you have. If you're doing this at 5:30 in the morning quietly, it's a lot different than gunning your vehicle and hitting an ICE officer and crashing into another car, banging into multiple vehicles, smashing them all up in a parking lot, trying to evade. You don't want loud noises and everything being the way that the left has been pushing this in the streets of America right now. It's dangerous. Armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can hang with us. Straight up, we'd know angel dust. Actually, what is that? I do want to do that run now. Armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Full lyrics. I've never learned this song, but I think it's armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we'd know angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass ends that love to bust. It's strange to us. Y'all ends be scrambling, gambling, up in restaurants with mandolins and violins. We just sitting here trying to win, try not to sin. High off weed and lots of gin. So much smoke need oxygen. Steadily counting them Benjamins. And you should too, if you knew what this game will do to you. Been in this shit since 92. Look at all the bullshit I've been through. So-called beef with you know who. After a few female stars or two, then I screw the asses up like Dr. Frankenstein. Hoes know I bust. They'd be like, big, you rhyme. And stay mad. Anyway, that gets a little off track there. It's Bone and Biggie. It's Bone and Biggie. Notorious Thugs. Armed and Dangerous. It's a banger of a song. Maybe Biggie's. I mean, it's a great song. And they got their music happening here. 2011, Cook County passed a law to ban cooperation between local law enforcement and federal immigration officials, citing liability concerns. That is garbage. This is a huge problem that you have the Democrat Party actively blocking the coordination between local officials. They're doing it because they're full of criminality. They're trying to artificially inflate the numbers of their city. They're trying to grant mass amnesty. They're trying to replace the native population. They're trying to bring in people and get them hooked on welfare that's supposed to be going to American citizens. They're trying to get ballots automatically mailed out to addresses that may or may not be returned with proper signatures. They're making it illegal. They've made it illegal in California. You cannot confirm the identity of somebody who asks for a vote. Are you out of your mind? In any sane world, you would shut all of this down yesterday. But sadly, we live in an insane world. Liability concern. The county says prior to the sanctuary law, ICE was deporting people for minor infractions. Oh, if you want to be in America, walk through the front door. It's not a minor infraction sneaking in the country. ICE says the county ordinance creates a danger to the community by releasing undocumented criminals back on the street.
Next target, somebody that did in excess of 10 years for narcotics trafficking. He's also been arrested for DUI. We also may be attempting to criminally prosecute this individual because he was previously removed from the country, which is a
previously removed and then they come back.
Federal felony. Federal
felony now. So yeah, everybody that snuck in needs to go. I think you still get $1,000 in a flight home from the CBP home app. You've had a year. You've been told. You've been notified. You've had a year and you've overstayed it an extra year. You gots to go. And there should be a way for people with a non-criminal background to come back in.
Yeah.
Documented background check, assimilation, English requirements, civics, write essays.
Of evidence, right, that he's using a fake ID.
Essays, because just what's in your heart? Are you trying to come here to take over the state in an Islamic caliphate to rule and dominate over other people? Islamic caliphate, take over and dominate. That could be a Biggie line right there.
You have evidence, right, that he's using a fake identity, or?
That is correct. We believe he's been using a U.S. citizen's identity to live and work. He has an Illinois driver's license.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement just arrested.
Yeah, Kenneth. Well, I don't know. We'll find a title for you. Some sort of I don't know, producer credit or something. Yeah, sure. It's the genesis of the moment. We'll see where it goes. People loved watching Cops. Why'd they ever take that off the air? Didn't somebody bring it back?
Its second target. It has had surveillance on this person for a while now.
This individual was incarcerated at Cook County Jail at one point. He was released without notification to ICE.
That stuff is infuriating. When you have illegal aliens that are arrested and they're in the jail and they don't hand them over, you've been conquered. You have a law enforcement organization apparatus that actively, intentionally, maliciously is putting your community at risk. These people need to go. Criminal, illegal aliens. They should automatically be handed over, but they're not doing it.
Previously, if we had been in the jail like we were prior to the 2011 ordinance, we probably could have arrested the individual at Cook County Jail, much more safe and secure location.
Safe, secure location. You don't need 5 people out on the road to do this. You don't need to put everybody at risk. You just make a simple handoff and they go back to wherever. Whether it's Palestine, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Venezuela, doesn't matter. Just directly over there in these sanctuary cities. I don't know how they're getting away with it. Why are they getting away with it?
Going to be processed. They're going to fingerprint him, ask him questions, and there's a whole process that goes into place before anyone is deported back, including seeing a judge.
We're cutting through because the highway's still backed up.
Continue 4.7 miles on North Carlin Avenue.
This third target,
You know, and this just seems to be a fair report.
he has an unauthorized use of a weapon, which was a firearm. He has a couple DUIs. He is a criminal. He has an extensive criminal history. And by taking
An extensive criminal history, and they won't get him out of their country.
him out of the community, it's making the community safer. And that's ICE's purpose, is to focus on criminals and community safety by taking these recidivist criminals out of our communities.
You got any weapons on you?
No.
We got a warrant for your arrest.
Why are they making it more
So we got here and there was a lot of action almost immediately.
We came in, saw the individual, we had eyes on our target. You know, he was able to come out of the business for us. We were to apprehend him without incident. At the same time, we also brought out his brother, who also is believed to be illegal in the United States. We were able to run him on our portable fingerprint scanner. He did have a hit with DHS, so he's been previously encountered, I believe, by the Border Patrol. So we're going to take him to the office and verify what criminal history he has, and we'll go from there with him. At the same time, when an individual run out the back of the business and started to jump fences, officers pursued him, were able to apprehend him.
Why did you run?
Well, the thing is, I gotta look out for my kids. I just don't want to leave my family alone. That's one of the main reasons.
What do you think about what ICE is doing to get criminal undocumented immigrants off the street?
That's good. We really appreciate that because, I mean, sometimes they get people that they're not doing anything. And we come over here for the same reason, to work. Not to go ahead and break houses, break cars, nothing.
All right, take care, sir.
Yeah, well, maybe. You know how we figure that out? Maybe you go into the decade-long plan. You don't just come here and get to be here. It's a process. You don't get a graduate. You don't get a degree from a college. You got to go through 4 years. Call it 10 years to become a citizen. You're in a temporary program, and you make sure that you are keeping your nose clean. You're staying out of trouble, and you're not reaching in and taking the vital resources intended for it to help American citizens. And if you are here to do things the right way, then do it the right way. Go through the front door, run the background check, go through the process. Get a purple card. I've called it a purple card. Don't call it a green card, but like, all right, I've raised my hand. I've said I'd like to visit your country and stay here for a while, hopefully earning citizenship. To do so, I have to write the essays. I have to pass your civics exam. I have to agree to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I'm not going to be on any welfare. I'm going to make my own way, and I'm going to contribute to the tax base, and hopefully I can earn my residency. Hopefully I can earn my citizenship. Citizenship is not something that you just give out to anybody. Just like it's not a wise idea to go to bed with every person that you meet, neither is it a good idea to let anybody into your bed, into your country. You have to be discerning. You want the best of the best. And if that guy's talking about it's just people, just good people who just want to work, I'm like, yeah, maybe. Some of you, sure. In which case, you go through the front door, you use your name, and you have a card. You go, yes, I've checked in with CBP, with Customs and Border Patrol Protection. Customs and Border Patrol, I think, CBP. I've checked in with ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. There's so many acronyms. You could just say, yeah, I'm here to work. Look, I said I want to be working in mechanics, and I want to be an American. I want to make a better life. Here's me. Yes, I've checked in. Let's run your fingerprint. Let's do your thing. Oh, okay, yeah, you're being an okay guy. Good. Thanks for taking a minute to talk with us today. It doesn't need to be complicated or violent.
He's just saying he was scared and ran.
It wouldn't be complicated or violent if the Democrats weren't actively going out of their way to make it that way. It's all unnecessary.
From the cops, but that's why we want to encounter him, see what's going on, see what the story is. He's not a priority. We haven't encountered him before, so we're going to let him go on the spot.
Let him go
that's
on
one
the
of the
spot.
beautiful things that some of the technology we're trying to deploy is to be able to do some of the screening right here instead of dragging everybody back to the office. And it worked out great this particular time.
This is the ICE processing facility right outside of Chicago. All the targets that were arrested are brought here. They are fingerprinted. They fill out paperwork. They answer any questions from the agents.
Here's what you're going to ask for. I request a hearing before an immigration judge.
They've already had their due process. Now, basically, we serve them a new paperwork showing them that what's going to be happening to them, and then we arrange for their removal from the United States.
This is Alberto Perez. He was just released from the Cook County Jail after being arrested on domestic battery. This morning, ICE agents went to the home where he was staying and arrested him. So you have been arrested twice for battery, domestic battery. Did you know that these charges would put you at risk for deportation?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I didn't know the consequence or the repercussions or anything like that. I have no idea that it would come to this.
On this day, ICE detained 6 for possible deportation. 2 of them were released because they didn't have criminal records.
Do you think you will be deported?
Hopefully, in my heart, I believe I won't be, but then apparently right now, my faith is in the hands of a judge.
You know, in this current anti-ICE upswing, it's just so interesting to see the way that they changed how they're reporting on this since the election of President Trump. And it's unfortunate. It doesn't need to be any more dangerous or complicated. You have zero right to be here if you have zero right to be here. Zero. You do this the easy way or the hard way, and they keep choosing the loud, hard, violent, dangerous way, and it's not good in any way. This clip is going around about Joe Rogan, and it's being clipped. It's being clipped. There is context. The one thing Scott Adams famously talked about was the Rupar. Aaron Rupar, one of the most disingenuous people in the history of punditry or journalism, whatever you want to call it. Dumb fuckery, you could call it that too. But it's where you'll selectively edit out famously the fine people hoax. President Trump said, and we had a lot of fine people here today. Some said, I like the statue. I don't like the guy. Did some things a lot of people say. But it happened. It was here. He's a guy. There's a statue. Keep it. And a lot of fine people on the other side that said, he's a bad guy. Take it down. I like statues personally. But there were a lot of fine people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white supremacists who I condemn completely, but there were a lot of fine people on both sides of this fight. They chopped out the middle part intentionally, where he specifically adds a highlighter to underline in bold and clarify, I'm not talking about neo-Nazis or what do you say, neo-Nazis or whatever it was. He was not talking about the bad people. I'm just saying some people said they keep the thing. Some people said take it down. There's fine people on both sides of that debate. They intentionally lied about what the point of the message was to inflict brain damage on the idiots who still listen to leftist propaganda slop outlets. Scott Adams played a big role in debunking the fine people hoax, perhaps the most divisive political hoax, racial political hoax in American history, in global history. And Barack Hussein Obama on the campaign trail the last week leading up to the 2024 election was still repeating the fucking fine people hoax. These people are monsters. They know what they're doing. They will burn it all down at all costs, lie to you, try to convince you of all of the worst things, only focus on the division, only focus on the bad. Trust me, he's the worst guy ever. He's Hitlerian. You got it. I mean, this stuff, we're on like 10 years of this now. So the context of this Joe Rogan clip is interesting because they're playing the second part of this without the context of the first part. So when you see a clip, Joel Pollack, who's in the intro to the TNAM Daily Show, you saw him. I was interviewing him at Politicon, I believe. He was on the Coffee with Scott Adams episode today, or the Scott Adams School, whatever they're calling the episode on his channel. And he talked about how he went on a segment with CNN, and they asked him about, they said, we're going to cover this. This is the topic. Maybe it was ICE. I think he said ICE. And then, or no, it was something else. Maybe it was the Palisades fire and the rebuilding effort. I forget exactly. There was one issue. And then also he said, I want to make a point about Scott Adams because he's writing the biography, putting the book together and stuff. He said, but they brought him on CNN, and then out of nowhere, they're like, all right, well, we're going to play this clip of this ICE interaction. What do you think, Joel? And he's like, huh? He's like, we didn't have this plan. This wasn't part of it. I don't know if it was like a gotcha thing or trying to catch you slipping or it just organically came up. And, you know, some of this stuff you can plan and some of it's, there's audibles called and you got to roll with the punches. He said, but he remembered the Scott Adams filter and like the whole way of thinking about things. And it's the way I try to do this. Anytime you see a video, you don't know what was clipped out. Is there any jump cut? Is any context missing? What was said immediately after this? Let's see the whole 20 minutes, not just the 90 seconds. Did anyone take the time to see the full 20 minutes of the George Floyd arrest? They only focused on that little moment. They didn't see him in the vehicle, hyperventilating, having a heart attack, overdosing, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. I can't go back there. I can't get arrested. I can't go back to jail. Hyperventilating, all of that. There was zero physical interaction. The medical event was happening, and it happened while he was peaceably arrested, handcuffed for stealing from the grocery store. That's what it is when you use a fake $20 bill to take stuff. You've stolen from them. Gets peacefully placed in the back of the cop car. He's freaking out back there. He wiggles out of the for not keeping that other door closed, or else that wouldn't have happened. I didn't want to see that bad stuff happen. I don't want to see snuff films. I don't want to see that. And that's the question. 2 movies playing on the same screen. Same thing is happening. You watch the same video, but based on the filter that you want to see it from, you can make excuses or rationalize almost anything to get you to team right, team left, team red, team blue, Democrat, Republican, accurate, full of shit. So be careful when you see this Joe Rogan clip going around, because there's a longer context to it. It's a 2-parter. Some people are clipping only the second part to fit an agenda, but it's more nuanced than that.
Because I see both perspectives. I see the perspective of the people that say, hey.
I had to turn the volume up here. Let me rewind this again.
Because I see both perspectives. I see the perspective of the people that say, hey, there was an illegal program moving people in here to get votes, moving people in here to get congressional seats, and we've got to change that. We've got to take those people that got in and send them back to where they came from, or do something, because if we don't, they're going to keep doing it if they get in office again in 2028, and it's going to accelerate. And you're going to have to take away some of the damage that's been done to a true democratic system, because you've kind of hijacked it, and they kind of have. And then I can also see the point.
And by kinda, you absolutely have. He's right in this first part.
Point of view of the people that say, yeah, but you don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to? So it's more complicated than I think people want to admit. You know, people want to look at this as a black and white issue, you know, if you're a compassionate person or if you're a pragmatic person. And I don't think that's true. I think it's both.
So beware of this clip, because you're going to see it. You will see it bandied about. Marion says, I'm team right, team red, team normal, team honest. Yes, that's a good team to be on, I think. Armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we'd know angel dust. You know, and I talked to you about this yesterday and maybe the day before, the 2 movies on one screen, 2 movies playing on the same screen. The legend himself, in his own words, explaining this, because I don't understand how hardcore libertarians and the radical left, they said, sir, a lot of people, leftist whack jobs. I don't understand how they're reaching the conclusions they're reaching for the life of me. I booked Dan because it seemed to me, and then it seemed confirmed as I scrolled back through several posts, nearly the entirety of what I'm seeing are critiques, complaints, concerns, rage. I believe was all I feel is rage, I believe was the last post of Dan's. I'm like, rage for law enforcement. Rage? Bro, this is a nightclub. You go to the front door, you show your ID. You check your ID, you enter the name in the database, or you scan it, or you look at the list of banned people that's printed at your check-in station, at your bar, at your nightclub. If you got kicked out of this bar before, you're not welcome back. If you were previously deported, go down the. I'm not going to harm you at this moment, but you are not allowed in here. You snuck in here before. You stole stuff from it. You're not welcome back. You harmed somebody while you were in here last time. That's why you're on the list. Nope. You show your ID. Papers, please. Uh-huh. You get a wristband when you pay your $10 cover charge. And if somebody, and it's an open bar, you call it $100, all you can drink. Well, you got people propping the back door open, and they're emptying busload after busload of people into this club, filling it past capacity. Not that U.S. is past capacity, but resources are finite. And this all-you-can-drink stuff, well, guess what? They're drinking it all. And so when someone goes up for an Absolute and cranberry, they don't have anything. They don't have it. It doesn't exist. It's not there. Because people that snuck in and didn't pay their cover charge ruined it for them. And then in America, you have those people taking over little enclaves, electing representatives who are going to constantly push for more of this. It is a blob that will continue to grow, and it will overthrow the United States completely very soon unless we reverse the damage done by Barack Hussein Obama. But for the life of me, all I feel is rage. And it's like post after post, I go, you literally have nothing positive to say about getting rid of all these rapists and murderers and criminal illegal aliens. This is all bad to you? You wouldn't let these people hang out in your house with your family when you're gone. Why are you letting them hang out in our country? It doesn't make any fucking sense. To quote Pete. Actually, you know what? I want to play Pete because I like that. Pete Holmes. I just watched it this morning. And I think he'll describe it a little bit better than why is this it's not popping up. Man, Grok is not, their search engine sucks. Am I thinking of his name wrong? Pete Holmes. Yeah. Why am I not finding this? Okay, this is stupid. Yeah, the search technique is terrible. Link to X post. Jamie, can you pull that up for me? Link to the X post. Pete Holmes. Here we go. I love this. I hope I don't get flagged for this. It's dirty, clean. It's HBO. Is there another one that's not the full HBO one? Another share. Let's try Andy. Yeah, that's the same one. Forget it. I'm going to play it. Whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me how people can reach the conclusion that ICE are bad and the illegal alien invaders are the good ones. We have no right to kick them out after sneaking in. Well, now that they're here, you're not allowed to ask. You can't just stop people and find out. You can't conduct investigations. And we're going to do everything we can to oppose you kicking these people out. What? What type of lunacy is this? It doesn't make any sense.
Nothing makes fucking sense. Life makes no sense. You're on a planet right now. You think you're in America? Zoom out.
You think you're on a planet right now? Zoom out. You think you're in America?
You're on a space rock floating in nothingness, infinite nothingness, and the infinite nothingness is expanding. That means endlessness is getting bigger. That makes no fucking sense.
Look, under the fair use provision, I'm allowed to link this concept into the current event story and provide some free advertising to go see Pete Holmes. He is he's one of the top 100 touring comedians out there. His stuff is good. It's clever. It's smart. It's funny. It's well done. This over-regulation of copyright infringement is insane, YouTube. You got to stop it. You got to allow us the free, the fair use provisions allowed to us. All we're trying to do is dap this guy up and provide some free advertising. Like, we're not trying to rebroadcast his entire special. Go watch it. Go pay for it. Whatever you got to do. But nothing makes any sense.
We all just act like it's normal. Like, oh, everything's made of molecules. Okay. Got it. I'll never think about that again. I'm made of molecules, you're made of molecules, the air between us, it's all made of molecules. That makes no fucking sense. These molecules know they're molecules.
I think I did a good job paraphrasing it, but I did watch it this morning.
These molecules are like, I'm Pete. That doesn't make any sense. This stool is made of molecules, the same molecules in my hand. In fact, some of the molecules in this stool went into me while I've been talking, and some that were me have gone into this stool. And you know, when I knock these molecules into these molecules, when we ask science, why don't they go through each other? You know what the answer is? We don't know.
Perfect. Glad we had that talk. Sorted that out.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
That is so. That's the HBO original series special, Pete Holmes' Dirty Clean. I recommend it completely. I don't know that I've ever seen the whole special of that, but I highly recommend it. Let me get back to Scott Adams. I got off track there. Kenneth says nothing makes sense anymore. Now that they've taken away our pennies. Waka waka. There's no sense. That is a good joke, though. That's let's see. Nothing makes sense. They took our pennies. Can't make sense of anything without pennies. All right, so here's Scott Adams talking about two movies playing on the same screen. It's important to kind of give a little context to what I was trying to explain.
You'll find this helpful in keeping your mental health stable. The usual frame, if you're debating somebody, is that one of you is right and the other one is wrong. And you usually think you're right and the other person's wrong, right? And then you've got to fight. So what would be a good reframe instead of one person's right, one person's wrong? The answer is we're watching two different movies on one screen. That really helps. If you say to somebody, I'm right and you're wrong, well, now you have a fight. If you say we're watching two different movies on the same screen, then suddenly you're curious. What do you mean by that? Well, I'm looking at different information. If you and I were looking at the same information, we'd probably have a similar opinion. And that
we are looking at different information. People on the right saw a lot of awesome video compilations of Charlie Kirk. You don't need to look far. Brilliant, genius, a lot of great stuff. What the left was seeing, who is that? Maybe I might need to take this. Yeah, let me take this.
That calms everybody down because you take it away from the two of you and who's right and who's wrong, and you basically blame you blame social media and the news for giving you two different versions of reality. So that is your reframe for the morning.
Bye. All right, thank you. Yeah, I was frantically, so I go, what am I going to play? I'm like, what can I play? And I had to just grab the call because some of these phone calls, you just got to grab them when they're coming in and they might be something and you got to double check. By the way, make sure you smash the thumbs up button, the like button every show. The algorithm likes that. Please share the show out on X, text it to your friends, send it on Facebook Messenger. Try to get people connected with this however you can, please. Oh yeah, royalties. If I can make any pennies off of the nothing makes any sense. Absolutely. Nothing does make sense. But it's because the people that hate Charlie Kirk, they don't take the time to listen to the times that he's making a bunch of sense. They hear where he's like, well, God wants a man and a woman and wants us to have babies. And it's very conservative, basic, straightforward stuff. In the angry, violent, fringe elements of the left, the trans, the alphabet mafia that want to be in a culture war and impose their will on everybody else. It's a very libertarian thing to just be like, hey, you can be you, do your thing. A lot of conservatives, most conservatives are just kind of like, hey, you do your thing. Whatever the thing is you're into, all right. But I don't need to support it in any way. I don't need to believe in it. I don't need to think it's okay. But I also say it's not okay for you to try to indoctrinate my children to believe this way either. I have every right to believe everything I believe just as you do. But they don't see it that way. It's me, 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 me. Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to take the moment of we're going to take it just a second and combine together all of our energy. Star Spangled Banner. We're going to get this together. We're on the same page. We're all Americans. Nope. It's about me, and I'm going to manipulate. I'm going to misrepresent crime statistics and make it seem like America's a bad place and white people are evil and America's evil. Sorry, buddy. That wasn't your time to. Yeah, he has every right to do that. I guess we have a right to be an asshole. It's not a criminal act. Well, they ran him out of the NFL because he did that. He got fired. He got replaced by Blaine Gabbert. He was an aging running quarterback that the NFL had figured out how to scheme the pistol offense and stop him. So he went on this manipulation tour and people bought it up. They sucked it up. Division. But they're being fed a different algorithm of what Charlie Kirk was. They could take 10 of the most hyperbolic, vitriolic, anti-alphabet agency, this and that. And in their minds, Charlie Kirk's a bad guy. Maybe he even deserved what he got coming to him. Right? You heard that. I cut people out of my life who said that shit. Multiple. People. It's so interesting. People cut me out from the lefty loon side because they shot and killed Charlie Kirk. They got mad at me because I was pointing out what they were up to. And their demons didn't like the sunlight. Sunlight being the best disinfectant. By the way, the other famous bleach hoax. Trump never said the word bleach. Disinfectant. Light. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. There were swallowable things that would emit in your digestive tract, and it would be on the inside, and it would try to all sorts of technology. And it's just, haha, we got you. He said something stupid. He said drink bleach. Oh, yeah, vote for Trump. He's so fucking stupid. He said to drink bleach, and he called Nazis fine people. None of that's true. But they don't have anything. So they twist, they lie, they manipulate, they chop up, they pull an Aaron Rupar, as Scott Adams coined it. To pull a Rupar is to intentionally deceive your audience. And so when they are processing the assassination of Charlie Kirk, they're like, screw that guy. He deserved that. They're not watching the same movie we are. The stuff we're watching was awesome. And by the way, are we not allowed to say 90% awesome things and 10% where you go, ugh, whew, I didn't like that. Bro, you kind of went on one there. As Kenneth would say, you go, vibe check. You're getting a little too fired up, and maybe you're saying things you might not want to be saying. We're all allowed a little bit of that. We're all allowed a little bit of that. Maybe I only advocate for such things because I broadcast for hours every single day, or at least the weekdays at this point. But we're watching two different movies on the same screen. That's why it doesn't make any sense, the conclusion that the leftists are coming to, that the libertarians are coming to. Nick came in the show yesterday and he was like, I'm against this. I'm out on Trump. I hate ICE. And you guys are being conned and you're brainwashing and you started being insulting. And I called him out and he said, I'm sorry about that. I'm just passionate. I go, yeah, whatever. And then he continued being kind of insulting, but we kept it going. We had a mostly civil dialogue about it, as we're supposed to do. That's the American way. The bullshit banana republic dictator way is getting people's faces, block traffic, honk horns, blaring megaphones into people's ears, causing hearing loss and ear damage, screeching whistles, screaming, threatening, taunting, provoking, instigating, just so you can have a Crispus Attucks moment, just so you can find your martyr to burn the country down in another summer of love. Fuck you. Fuck all of you in that energy. I want the people that snuck in to be identified and taken out of the country. CBP Home app takes you there. You've had a year. No, you don't just get to stay. Well, can't I just stay? I've already watched half the movie. Bro, you got to pay the ticket takers. You got to pay the people that clean up after you. You got to pay people to sweep and clean the bathrooms and to make the food and clean up the food preparation. Like, there's a cost associated with turning the electricity on here. We have to recoup that. No, you don't get to stay to finish the fucking movie. Get the fuck out. And if you'd like to buy a ticket, you can come back in. I don't want to see anybody kneecapped or shot in the face. No, I don't want that. But the actions of the invaders are causing that. The apologists for the lawbreakers, the invaders, the criminal invaders are causing the problems. Not the people who are saying, hands up, let me see the wristbands. Everybody with the wristband, come this way. Hands up, and everybody, I'll check it. We're going to scan it in. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, you guys all paid your $100 cover charge to our club tonight. Yes, you have access to the free buffet and all you can drink. You've paid your cover charge to this private event. You're good. And then the room's full of 100 other people going, no. I don't want you to lock the doors, sick the dogs, turn on the gas, line them up. Bang, 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 bang. No, I don't want to see that. Simply crossing an imaginary line because libertarians don't believe in borders for some reason. That's where I can't even with the libertarians. It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes any sense. You have every right to define your borders and set the terms within. That's what our country is. Otherwise, we're not a country. Lose that and you become a one world government. That doesn't sound preferable, does it, libertarians? I think my ideals on libertarianism are going to stand up way better over time than the most hardcore libertarian advocates. I think. But I'm also a little riled up and I'm angry because I've been watching the movie that I've been watching. And because it's so damn important and it's only a minute, just one more time so you can really get the concept of two movies on the...
You'll find this helpful in keeping your mental health
I don't think there's volume now.
stable.
Oh, I turned volume down. That's what happened. Understood.
You'll find this helpful in keeping your mental health stable.
And I put a note down that I need to play this for Dan when we do our show. You know, because he's getting frustrated with me. I'm getting frustrated with him. And he's like, we used to be on the same side. I'm like, I haven't changed. I've always been for law and order. Yo, I can't believe you want these militarized on our streets. Bro, we're allowed to have a security team inside of our nightclub. People snuck in. They're stealing shit. They're making everything expensive and dangerous. Yeah, well, there's no proof that the rates of illegal alien truck drivers have more crashes than anybody. If there's one crash, that's too many. They shouldn't have been here. They weren't trained properly. They weren't credentialed. They took lives on the highway. Yeah, well, it's the same rate. It's no different than... What are you even arguing? Why are you changing the subject? Scott's saying we need to remember this to keep our sanity. This will be very helpful to reset it when we do our show, hopefully on Thursday.
You'll find this helpful in keeping your mental health stable. The usual frame, if you're debating somebody, is that one of you is right and the other one is wrong. And you usually think you're right and the other person's wrong, right? And then you've got to fight. So what would be a good reframe instead of one person's right, one person's wrong? The answer is we're watching two different movies on one screen. That really helps. If you say to somebody, I'm right and you're wrong, well, now you have a fight. If you say we're watching two different movies on the same screen, then suddenly you're curious. What do you mean by that? Well, I'm looking at different information. If you and I were looking at the same information, we'd probably have a similar opinion. And that calms everybody down because you take it away from the two of you and who's right and who's wrong. And you basically blame you blame social media and the news for giving you two different versions of reality. So that is your reframe for the morning.
Reframe your brain. Consider checking out that book. Talking about how they're clipping the Joe Rogan segment. Remember what they did to us. Never forget when CNN altered Joe Rogan's color to scare people away from taking ivermectin. Remember this?
And turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone, and turns out I got COVID. So
the original version is down here where he's got color in his face. He looks healthy. The other one, he looks like a corpse. It almost looks black and white. It's green. You can't convince me that was unintentional. We said intentional. Katie Pavlich says, see, it can be done. Be like Florida, Minnesota. Attorney General James Utmeyer says, Utmeyer. This is Jennifer Cruz of Jacksonville. Jennifer disagrees with immigration enforcement and decided to commit a few felonies by getting out of her car and punching a trooper in the face. But unlike Minnesota, we don't put up with this nonsense. Not today, Jennifer. 1.1 million views. We made you famous, lady. Nashville Tea Party put this out and says, if you are not prepared to use force to defend civilization, then be prepared to accept barbarism. That's another one I want to use for this show. Okay, I'm making a note here. Jamie, make a note that we need to pull this up. You know, because I know how our show is going to go. I know how it could go. Dan's going to bring some statistics, and Dan will be eloquent, and he'll have some legal. Well, what about this case? And you know the posse comitatus, and he'll go through things where, you know, there's specifics, and well, in this case, and this shouldn't have happened, and I guess he's upset by what happened with the Minneapolis shooting. What do you expect when you ram an ICE agent with your car as you're being arrested instead of just getting arrested? What do you expect? You're going to blame ICE for that? We're watching two movies on a different screen. I can't even imagine how you'd reach that conclusion. Because if you're not prepared to use force to defend civilization, be prepared to accept barbarism. I'm not prepared to accept that. I'm just not. All right, let's keep it going. Breaking from Right Angle News Network, leftist agitator Andrew Mercado is facing mass calls for arrest after receiving stolen FBI and ICE documents from destroyed federal vehicles in Minneapolis and reading them live on stream, which is a felony carrying a 10-year sentence. He's scrambling to erase all evidence. Check this out.
Oh boy, what do you have?
I have paperwork from these vehicles with full FBI first, last names, phone numbers, emails, addresses.
Oh wow.
It has it has where they take.
Hold it open. Yeah, I'm contributing. So this is the.
Well, I'm sitting here going, let me think this through. If the 10-year sentence for sharing this information to dox these people, maybe I shouldn't play it where he says it. I don't know if it's edited or not. But yeah, this Andrew Mercado, he's a violent one. They're blowing up vehicles again. They're violent. They don't get their way and they get violent. So what do you do with violent people? You put them in a timeout. And if they can't get their shit together, you keep them in timeout and you don't let them back into general population. The left is violent. Let's check in with James O'Keefe, who's letting us know that our Secret Service agency is not okay, people.
That video that James O'Keefe put out on Instagram, I couldn't believe it. I watched it last night. Here's the Secret Service agent sitting at a table or a bar with somebody, and he's just like unloading all this information on J.D. Vance.
This is probably the worst breach we've seen in a long time, and it comes courtesy of James O'Keefe, of course. I don't understand, like, how James is able to get away with it, right? It's Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with it, but he does.
You can't keep getting away with it!
He's just so good, and quite frankly, James is the hero of the story. But what James is doing is the kind of work that, like, an undercover should do, in exposing major security lapses on the vice president's team. This is terrible. These kind of things could get the vice president killed. We should all be celebrating James, as we do on this channel, for doing this, because now they know where some of the leaks are. What if this was a nation state? What if this was not just James O'Keefe honeypot operation, but like somebody from China or Iran? And of course, they probably have all those. Those exist.
Oh, yeah.
An undercover video from James O'Keefe. He's been doing this for years. He's an independent journalist that released this on X. It's a video showing the agent allegedly discussing details like shift schedules, advanced security procedures, and protective formations.
It's unreal. So stupid. Hollywood Horror Museum says we posted rest in peace to the creator of the comic strip Dilbert. We received so much hate towards us and him due to his political beliefs. We knew nothing of his beliefs, and frankly, it doesn't matter. He made a great strip. He died of cancer. It's sad, and rest in peace. He said, Hollywood Horror Museum says, what's really fascinating, some haters are calling us left. Some haters are calling us right. This page doesn't lean toward any political view, but when an artist dies, we're going to acknowledge them, whether we liked, loved, or disagreed with them without comment. That's our job. They continue, honestly, we dislike blocking people because we want to hear other people's opinions. Like that's, I mean, you saw me not block Nick yesterday. Nick was being a bit of a dick. I called him out on it, and he actually said, I'm sorry. Sorry if I came off like I came in hot. I'm just, I'm like, it's okay. Brothers squabble. keep it mostly civil, though. We got to keep it in the mostly civil. Let's not do anything unforgivable, but like, we need more conversation, more room for that. But they say we honestly dislike blocking people because we want to hear other people's opinions, because no one is going to 100% agree with everything with anyone. No way. What we won't put up with are just flat out cursing and insults. Life is too short. Just a girl from Michigan says, I just followed you, even though horror movies aren't my thing. But the fact that you're standing your ground in regard to artists tells me everything I need to know about you. Thank you. So why don't you drop, if you're on X, why don't you drop them a follow? Hollywood Horror Museum at Horror Museum. We thanked them publicly. We said, thank you, Horror Museum. Even more than the success of the comic strip, the podcast was a masterclass of reframing our brains, processing news through productive filters, and debunking lies. Scott was a legend, and we appreciate your post. Don't ever bow to the mob. RNC Research shares this. Brittany Peterson, take a listen to what she wants. Colorado Democrat. Here's an admission.
Congresswoman, our next question is an online question, and it comes from Erlinda. Erlinda.
If you want to know who to vote for in 2026 and that you need to get your friends and family out to the polls.
Asks, will you vote to impeach the president?
Thank you so much for asking that question. Last month, I voted to advance articles of impeachment related to his call for members of Congress to be executed and his abuse of power with regard to his threats made toward federal judges. So that was what that focus was.
Judges that are not judging, they're acting as political activists? It's not means for impeachment at all.
Unfortunately, this vote failed and the article did not move forward. We know
not unfortunately, fortunately.
That it is highly unlikely that in the minority that there will be a path, but we are building our case. We are building the Oversight Committee is working on making sure that they're building up their ability to utilize the Oversight Committee as soon as we have power, their subpoena power, and what we can do to ultimately move forward to impeach Trump.
So you want Trump impeached? Vote Democrats in. Never vote Democrat ever again. Tell a friend, tell a family member was our message there. No, don't let them in. Like, enough of this stuff. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino calls out agitators using ear-piercing whistles to primarily tip people off to where immigration agents are. Take a watch.
There's all these ear-piercing whistles going on around us right now. What are these people blowing those whistles for?
No, it's interesting you ask that, Matt. Oftentimes these individuals have no reason or they have no clue why we are in an area. We could arrest, again, a child molester or a child rapist or a murderer, illegal alien, and they don't seem to care. They don't agree with that for some odd reason, and it seems that they protest or agitate, and they don't know why they're doing that.
Uh-huh. It's a little goofy. Little goofy. We're saying it's audible assault. Audible assault is assault. This isn't free speech, it's vocal violence. Harming our hearing is not a protected civil right. I can't stand these people when they're out. Like it causes pain. It causes permanent damage. These trying to redefine freedom of speech, what it actually means, it gets a little wonky around the edges. You got a point, make your point. You don't have a right to drown other people out or hurt their ears in the process. You permanently damage someone's hearing. They're messed up forever. All right, Eric Erickson here talks about a New York Times multi-angle camera view claiming Renee Good didn't hit the ICE agent. But now we have the ICE agent's medical records. She did hit him. Where's the apology?
The New York Times pushed out a story just the other day after Renee Good got killed by the ICE agent, a multi-angle camera view to insist it did not look like the ICE agent got hit. And when conservatives who could very clearly see in the video he got hit said, no, here it is right here, a lot of people said, no, the New York Times covered it from multiple angles. And the New York Times says he didn't get hit, therefore he didn't get hit. CNN echoed the New York Times claims that it did not appear he got hit. We now have the medical records of the ICE agent. I believe his name is Jonathan Ross. Internal bleeding in his hip area from the impact of the 3,000+ pound car hitting him. He was hit by Renee Good. The New York Times.
And I said 4,600 pound. I'm not entirely certain the weight of it, but it's several thousand pounds.
Are hitting him. He was hit by Renee Good. The New York Times told us not to believe our eyes and put together a montage where, in fact, they put text over part of the video right when he's getting hit to suggest he wasn't hit. At least on social media, there was text I saw, and I was like, no, that shows where he got hit. It was amplified then because of the New York Times by other news outlets, including CNN. A lot of people have come into my comments on social media, particularly on Instagram, to insist that the man did not get hit. Now, I'm not arguing about whether or not she should have been shot, but I'm telling you he was hit, and many people insisted to me that no, they couldn't see him being hit. There was no proof he was hit. We now have his medical records. He was hit by a 3,000+ pound SUV and had internal bleeding at the point of contact in his hip area where he was hit. The American Press Corps has yet again lied to us to carry water for progressives.
Where's your shocked face? Prepare your surprised face about that. You know, they have a 72-hour rule for a reason. You're not supposed to reach knee-jerk reactions to any story. You got to get the context. You don't know what happened before, you don't know what happened. And that's what Joel Pollak was saying. The Scott Adams filter is be careful when you're on CNN. Did I ever finish that story with Joel Pollak? He just said that they kind of they brought up some video and he's like, I'd never seen this. And they asked, what's my opinion? I go, I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't know the context. I don't know what led up to this. I don't know what happened after this. I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to? Yep, you got me. Yep, I agree. Like, you can't agree or disagree on anything until you really do a deep dive. And you should be leery. Leer. Isn't leering like Leering Center? Leer. Isn't leering like a negative connotation? Now I'm curious. I'm going to ask Grok. Define leer or leering. Yeah, looking sideways or obliquely in an unpleasant, sly, suggestive, rude, malicious, or sexually interested way. Oh, leer. Yeah, leering like, often with a smirk or a grin that feels creepy or unwelcome. A leer refers to the kind of sidelong glance or facial expression itself. He gave her a leering smile. He was leering at her from across the room. All right, Nick Sorter here. Anti-ICE rioters tie a tow rope to a weapons locker in a federal vehicle and rip it out with a pickup truck. Minneapolis PD refuses to respond. This is unsustainable. DHS agents are sitting ducks. We need Marines here now. Locals are begging for relief, President Trump.
Hey, listen, I'll tell y'all now, they on the Snapchat, so they gonna be on y'all ass if y'all recording this. They gonna be on your ass. They gonna be on your ass. Your ass is a witness. Hey, don't hit them.
Beyond stupid. Yeah, let's get all your fingerprints on that.
Please don't. Don't fuck with Minneapolis. They got the motherfucking thing. Switch on the back of that bitch.
No Minneapolis police?
Back up, watch out.
That shit sounds empty, man.
This is happening across Minneapolis right now. Why is it happening? Well, take a look at this Jacob Frey clown urging a civil war, according to Laura Ingraham. Do you agree or disagree with Laura Ingram's assertion that Jacob Frey in this clip is calling for a civil war?
To maintain order.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Droopy Dog. Curb weight of the 2025 Honda Pilot ranges from approximately 4,306 to 4,685 pounds. So yeah, I said, what did I say? 4,600, 4,700? I think I said 40. Did I say 46 or 47? I don't remember. But wow. Yep. Okay, I guess my number was accurate that I picked up from somewhere. 40. You could call it round 4,685 up to 4,700. Thank you for that. Yeah. If you want your kids to create some iconic Hollywood sitcoms, make sure you send them to the Norman Leering Center. Well played. Well played.
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street.
The fuck? Did your bitch ass just say? Holy shit. Whoa. I feel like this cucked police chief over here. What? Look at his forehead. Watch. He's just here listening, and then he goes, "What? Look at these eyebrows. Watch his eyebrows." It's exactly the facial impression, that's exactly the facial expression I made. Crystal clear time to arrest Jacob Frey. To detain him, arrest him. Watch the eyebrows. I need a second screen here so I can see side by side. I keep gotta bounce around. Keep needing to bounce around. He's listening, and then what? We need to fight ICE on the streets. What? Fight ICE. He can't look at the eyebrows. Don't lie. That's the look of, what the fuck did you just say? I'm stunned by this clip. I didn't see it before. And I tell you guys, like often we will unpack the news together. The fun of doing reaction videos. And I was doing some. I was actually getting some views on them too. I don't know why I stopped. Other than I have other things that take up my time. But if I manage my time properly, I could still probably do it. That being said, everyone likes a music reaction video because you watch it in real time. But if you rewind it, my eyebrows went up and did the same exact thing that his just did. And I paused it right there and I caught that his did the exact same. Huh? Like, what? You out of your mind? David says, shut it down, shut it down. Are they really that crazy to engage with federal agents? They are traitors. They're busted. And they're a cornered animal right now, lashing out. You need to take them extremely seriously. And for the love of fucking everything good in this world, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, get to fucking work. Drop the indictment. Send the message. All the grand conspiracy stuff, all the Minneapolis stuff, all the Los Angeles stuff, do it. The message needs to be sent. I'm going to rewind this in its entirety. Just keep an eye on the eyebrows. Wow. Guys, I had no idea this was this bad. This might, okay.
To maintain order. And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand.
One more time. They have residents who are asking the police officers to fight ICE agents, and that cucked
to maintain
police chief, I forget the guy's name. He's like, you want me to fight the feds in the streets? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Order. And we're in a position right now where we have...
And he's not allowed to disagree with this guy, or he'll probably kick his ass to the curb and strip him of his pension and stuff.
Residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand by their neighbors. We cannot be at a place right now in America where we have two governmental entities that are literally fighting one another.
Well, you're the ones committing the illegal acts. You're the ones protecting the dirtbags and the people who snuck in. You are getting kickbacks from all of this fraud, and that's the only reason you're in the position you are, as a traitor. You've sold out your community to Somalis and others, and you're busted. You think you get to commit all of that criminality and that there will be no legal repercussions? In what universe do you think that's accurate?
Why are we put in this position?
Because you are empowering, emboldening, you are enacting, because you're playing the sanctuary city treason game. America's for Americans. America is for Americans.
We're put in this position because we have approximately 600 police officers in Minneapolis.
No, you're not put in this position because you have 600 police officers in Minneapolis. You're put in this position because you've worked to import. How many Somalis are we talking? Let's see. Estimate on number of illegal alien Somalis in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. If they're illegal and they haven't been counted, it's obviously an uncountable number. I take whatever number and usually double it, because they're saying about 100,000, mainly in Minneapolis, to totally take over that city in the voting block. That's a takeover. That's a coup. You can just say Minneapolis has fallen. It's been overthrown. Vast majority of Somalis are U.S. citizens or legal residents, including many who arrived as refugees in the 90s and have since naturalized, with over half born in the U.S. Yeah, you can denaturalize people if they're scammers, if they're thieves, if they're committing fraud, if they want to import Sharia law here that's incompatible with our Constitution and civil rights. I mean, it's a lot of guessing. I understand that, but I was just trying to get a little context.
Far fewer that are able to work at any given time.
Far fewer than 600 police able to work at any given time.
And there are approximately 3,000 ICE agents in the area. 3,000.
Thank God. Removing people that don't belong there. Your party did this, not MAGA.
The 600 police officers.
MAGA turned off the water, and they're trying to blame you for the flood. No. MAGA stopped the water from running. Now it's time to clean up. Your mess.
That we have are charged on any given day with investigating crime to maintain.
Just one more time. He's not calling on them. He's doing that sneaky thing. He's doing the thing where he's not calling for it. He's saying others are calling on it.
Order.
Watch the eyebrows. I wish I had this guy's name off the top of my head. Minneapolis Police Chief such and such.
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand by their neighbors.
What? That eyebrow raise says a lot right there. Gutfeld has some thoughts on this. Who could have ever predicted that we were going to end up this way?
You know, when I hear these few stories about people being pulled from cars, I don't care. Nope. Because the people that are reporting on this have no credibility, because they never bothered to report a single case of the thousands of violent felons, criminals captured and deported by ICE.
Where is that? It's one of my frustrations with Dan, who we're going to bring on. I think we're looking at Thursday at noon. If I can get John B and it has to be a different time, I would maybe switch it if that would work better for the three of us. We've also asked to see if we could bring Ford Fisher in, another colleague from Solutions Institute, activist convention and whatnot. I've scanned his posts. I don't see anything positive at all. Nothing. Where's the thank you for getting rid of these monsters? And if you can't say thank you for getting rid of the monsters, why do I want to hear you griping about the other shit? I'm very thankful that we're finally cleaning up this mess, ripping out the toxic mold from the water invasion. It's been a water invasion and we got black mold to remove. Oh, great. Now you made it racial. Green mold. The mold that invaded my home was called black mold, by the way. Why? Because he lived in the hood? Oh my gosh, shut up, you dorks. Most people live their whole day, don't think about race a single time because they don't care. See, you don't care about our plight. It's America. You don't care about plights. Shut up, get to work, go. I hope you do well. And stay out of my face and don't try to force me to convert to any of your bullshit. We good? Good. Good seeing you, neighbor. I mean, it's not complicated to be an American, but the lefties love making it complicated. But Gutfeld's like, I don't care. You don't report anything good that's happening. All these dirtbags, these criminals, these violent monsters that the Democrats prop the door wide open for everyone to come streaming in. I mean, pure treasonous act to leave that border open for 4 years like they did.
Maybe if you showed a little fair and balanced reporting on the stuff that was going on before, the murderers or the rapists, and also to Jesse's point, the ones that are released, then we might, I don't know, respect your opinion, but we don't. Number two, there's no vast operation that can be perfect. And you wouldn't have needed a vast operation if you hadn't opened the border and let in 10 million people in the last 20 years. You want to know why the training is truncated? Figure it out. We needed more ICE agents because there were 10 million people in here. We needed to shorten the training. That's on you, okay? If it wasn't for your malfeasance on the border, we wouldn't even be in this situation. So this is on the Dems. It's not on ICE. You know, if only people had pointed or predicted that this would happen. Oh, yeah, it was Bill Malugin. It was the years that Fox did this coverage on the border that no one else did in the media, who are now covering ICE. They're now covering it wall to wall. They didn't do a damn thing before. By the way, you know, these demonstrations, why do they keep demonstrations? The story is over. We know the tape. We know what happened. They're
he's talking about the shooting. They're just desperately trying to find their Crispus Attucks moment.
Demonstrating still so more people get hurt. They need another person to get hurt to maintain this. And we know this. It's obvious. The groups that train the agitators tell them to make themselves indistinguishable from real people when the shit goes down. So you get caught in a bad situation. Suddenly, I'm going to the doctor. I'm dropping off my kids. What does that do? That increases the risk to actual real people who might be caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. And no doubt that can happen in a vast operation. But cops don't know that. So who's confusing the police? Is it the police? Is it the legitimate people trying to get to work? No, it's the people deliberately trying to create the chaos. You're talking about, they want to...
They're the ones causing the problems, then complaining about how you're fixing the problem.
Abolish ICE. The reason why they're taking away this statement is because they know what's the next step. All right, you guys want to abolish ICE. What do you guys want to do? They haven't thought of that. They don't have an answer. So they...
And that's what I asked Dan this I believe a couple of times. I at least thought it a million times as I'd scroll and be like, I left a few comments. I'm like, well, how do you, it's like I asked Nick Adams yesterday, well, how do you get rid of the 40 million illegal alien invaders? He's like, I don't think it's that big of a problem. Oh, okay. I guess we're at an impasse here. What are we, where's the common ground if you don't see that it's a problem? Will Trump sign the sir? They said, sir, it's an insurrection. Yeah, so what's your way to get these 40 million illegal alien invaders out? And their answer is, we don't want to. Okay, well, we do and we are. If you want to come up with the best ways to do it, let's have a symposium discussing the best way to handle the mass deportation. I don't really want to hear complaints that we shouldn't or we can't. We have every right to do this. And stop putting people in really bad situations where violence occurs. It doesn't need to be this way.
It's the next step.
These sanctuary city jails not handing over the illegal alien criminals as soon as their term is up to get them the hell out of here to go be someone else's problem. That's the shepherd. You're supposed to protect your flock. And if you don't think it's a big deal if there's a bunch of wolves running around, none of it makes sense. None of it makes any flipping sense. People I respect, people I used to respect, people I sort of usually think are on the right side of things. I've seen some horrible takes on this. Horrible takes on this.
All right, you guys want to abolish ICE. What do you guys want to do? They haven't thought of that.
Or like, and I kept trying to press Nick on the show yesterday. Okay, so what? What do we do then? Well, I asked him multiple times, and there was a deflection. There was a couple of different comments, and ignoring the question or just not answering it. And it's like I had to ask at least twice, maybe 3 or 4 times, and then finally he was like, "I don't think it's that big of a deal." That's not a plan. You still didn't answer it. What is your plan? If all you wanted, there was a band member that I used to play with. Won't name him. Man, he had a gripe about everything. The show that we played. Why did we book that show? Why are we playing that venue? Who are we playing with? Why are we playing with those guys? Why'd you make that flyer? I don't like that's the flyer. Why is that the flyer? Why do you want to put that out? Why do you want to use that as a sign? Why do you want to put up a banner of our Why do you want that as our logo? Why do you want... Everything was like a critique and a complaint and a criticism. And I said, well, what shows are you booking? What shows do you want to do? Do you want to book some shows? Do you want to play with other bands? Do you want to make some flyers? Do you want to hang up some flyers? Do you want to design some stuff and print it? What are you suggesting? You just want to constantly complain about the stuff we're doing, but you don't want to do the stuff. So either do the stuff and we'll figure it out, or please shut up. Shut up. What's your plan? I'm very curious. What would I guess Dan's answer is going to be about what's your plan to remove 40 million illegal alien invaders? And my specific critique about Dan was that a couple of his posts, and he's talking about how successful his business is with non-governmental organizations and NGOs and nonprofits, I think he specifically said. And I said, all you do is come on here bitching about the stuff that we're doing to clean up the mess, to clean up the mold that the Democrat deep state caused. All you're doing is complaining about the people working. What's wrong with the methods? You want to make the methods a little bit better? I'm here to listen to ways how we can improve the process of removing the mold. If you're not going to put on the hazmat suit and get to work, shut the fuck up. Not exactly. But then it's because we're creating all these nonprofits, and I'm going to help these nonprofits get up so they can become nonprofits. I go, so what? You're trying to send people into like a duplication machine? All of your no ideas and constant complaints and criticism, you want to multiply that? You want to get more nonprofits spewing this bullshit out? That's not helpful. But that's the business model, and business is good, apparently. That makes me angry. That feels like you're selling out the country for 40 pieces of silver. You wouldn't let these rapists, murderers, monsters hang out with your family and your loved ones. If you wouldn't do that, you shouldn't let them in the country. You must not let them in the country. They cannot remain in this country. So what's your suggestion on the best ways to remove them? I'm all ears. I don't want to see a single person harmed. Let me be as clear as possible. I don't want to see a single person harmed. But these sanctuary laws and these people getting up in faces and honking and blocking roads and causing problems, that's not helping. It's making it infinitely worse.
Don't have an answer. So they realize that makes them look even dumber because, by the way, these are professional freelance agitators. They just got fresh off the, because they have a truce in Israel, at Gaza. This was the next thing. And Kellyanne made a great point. There's quite a difference that party and pigment makes,
Difference that party and pigment make.
Under Obama, they treated ICE with respect. Look at how they're deporting these criminals. Now they call them the Gestapo, which is so strange because if they really actually believed they were the Gestapo, would they be running in front of them and challenging them to things? No, they wouldn't. So there's some dishonesty there. The great tragedy.
A lot of dishonesty there.
The Democratic Party is there are many things that they cherished, which is science, mental health care, safe streets, civil order, border. They all cared for this. Women's rights. None of that stuff has changed, but they have. Why? Because they're not in power. They all hate this stuff.
It's a great point about the media. I remember asking Bill Malugin sometimes, like, are there any other reporters down there today?
Not at all. And now they care.
Nope, can't find us.
Now they care. It goes back to Whipgate. They didn't care about the border until they thought they had a border agent. Yep. And they just went crazy. If they were wrong, they walked away. You know what?
They set fires and they walk away. They're racial arsonists. Divisive, toxic, dangerous racial arsonists. It's a damn shame. Here's some pictures. Liz Collins says pics from North Minneapolis last night where rioters destroyed federal vehicles and stole firearms, ammunition, and sensitive documents inside, all captured on live stream. Molly Hemingway says this is an organized and well-funded insurrection. Why isn't federal government treating it 1/10,000,000th as seriously as they treated J6? Oh, look at that. Let's see these pictures as large as we can. It says F ICE, a completely destroyed vehicle. Wonder if we can find you, lady. She's got her hands up as a peace sign. She's saying, screw you. F ICE, another destroyed vehicle. This is the left. President Trump says if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It's so time. It's so time. It's a conquered state. We are in a war. We've lost control of parts of this country. We being America. Saw this news. Giants trying to finalize a 5-year deal with John Harbaugh, formerly of the Ravens, to become the next coach. Let's see. Did he get signed yet? Giants are still finalizing a deal with Harbaugh, but there's still a little time there. We'll see how it shakes out. Yesterday, Bill Clinton defied a subpoena. What's Byron Donalds got to say about this? Take a look.
Former President Clinton, Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State here, contempt of Congress. Do you think that's going to happen, face some kind of charges from the House Oversight Committee?
It better, because what Bill and Hillary Clinton have done is they've thumbed their nose at the House of Representatives. Any other citizen would have to answer that subpoena. They could have walked in here and pled the fifth. They chose not to do that. They sent some funky letter drafted by a lawyer, but that doesn't matter when it comes to a congressional subpoena. So in my view, and I told the speaker on the floor at our first vote series earlier today that yes, we should hold them in contempt. It should be a vote on the floor of the House. That should go out immediately and sent over to the Department of Justice.
Former President Clinton.
I mean, we told you, we filmed Peter Navarro the day he got out. Steve Bannon was arrested for the same exact thing. So get to it, guys. Josh Hawley.
Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I can't believe we're arguing this, holding hearings on whether men can get pregnant.
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
There are many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women.
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor,
agree.
I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also,
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing.
Super depressing, guys. and her voice is also annoying, too squeaky. Well, droopy dog. Ask her if she's been married and if her husband has ever been pregnant. It's cuckoo clock territory stuff. Elon says, yep, same goes for all male mammals. Men don't give birth. Check out yesterday's show. Let's have a simultaneous sip and then separate fake news from facts on the TNAM Daily Show. Check out yesterday's show. Hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following us on Rumble, YouTube, all the places. Remember, we have Rumble Rants. I think we're $5 donation away from being able to make a cash out over there. So consider that, every dear watcher. We know people watch us live and people watch us after the fact. Thank you to everyone. We're here every day at noon. I don't know if we've made that crystal clear. You should have probably sort of figured that out by now. And, we could change the time of our show at some point. And hopefully you'd follow us at that point. But for now, we're at 10. Excuse me. We're at noon. I just see that. I just glanced at the number 10 and I said 10. The brain is a funny thing. Hi, Nimbus. Oh, come here. Good. Are you doing the jump? Do you want me to lift you? Do you want up? Come on. My co-host has arrived. Why do I scrunch him like that? Because that's how they were carried as kitties. That's an okay way to carry a cat. Aw, Mr. Nim. Woke up from his morning nap, had some lunch. Wants to come hang out and be a superstar today. Love this guy. All right, so yeah, check out yesterday's show. Here, let me move this. Oh, there you go. You go on that side, and then I think you can sit right there. We're trying something new out with Nimbus. All right. Yes. I was saying Rumble Rants Super Chats, and you can sign up to be a subscriptive member, which is awesome. So thank you, boss. Thank you all. Who comes in off the top rope? See, this is that moment where like you'll hear like the shattering glass and the music for the intro for WWE. And someone comes running down the entrance way, and they're running toward the ring, and then they jump in. Here's Kenneth off the top rope with the elbow. Super chat, Kenneth, $20 into the tip jar. Thank you, sir. Boy, oh boy, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine headed my way. Zippity doo-dah, zippity. Yay. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for a humble champ. A humble champ. A lot of people say, sir, you might be the most, a lot of people say it. You might be the most humble person I've ever seen. I agree. I'm the most humble person. For a humble champ. Thank you so much, Kenneth. Appreciate all of you. It's not the reason that I sit here and play the music on the street corner, but like I said, it puts gas in the gas tank. Not buying me a third villa. I'm not Bernie Sanders. I don't have a third vacation home. But it will put some gas in the tank. Thank you all. All right. Thank you so much. Awesome. Good stuff. Let's keep it rolling. We showed you this lady. Bad decision. Don't attack the troopers. So where are we at? Oh, Aaron Rupar shared this one too. Oh, Andrew Rupar. I'm sorry, Aaron Rupar. I read Andrew Garbino. I'm sorry, Garbarino. Says what really bothers me is how comfortable people in this country. Well, just here, let's listen to it. This is on Fox about ICE agents getting attacked with a shovel during an ambush.
And what really bothers me is how comfortable people in this country have become to not listen to law enforcement. When a cop tells me not to do something, I don't do it. That should be the normal. That should be the normal way things go when police officers talk to you. But the rhetoric on the other side, a lot of the Democrats, especially the governor and the mayor over there in Minnesota, they're ramping up the rhetoric. They're telling people to get in their face, and that's just going to cause more problems.
It's causing way too many problems. By the way, where's silver at right now? Someone told me it hit 93. And I think it could go to 400. Don't take any advice from me. 93. Wow. 52-week silver high low. In the past year, whoa, it went from 27 to 93. Hi ho silver. Hi go silver. Hi buddy. Love you. No, I don't actually kiss my cat. We do the nose thing. I go like this, and he just puts his nose there. He's like, I know, I love you too. I give him headbutts. I think he knows what that means. It means I love you. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, hi go silver, yo. All right, let's keep it rolling. So Benny Johnson shares this. Democrat lawmakers in Minnesota are now encouraging anti-ICE rioters to... I'm sorry, what?
If there were neighbors and others who came out to help this person.
What person?
That is just an example.
A citizen or an illegal alien?
If there were neighbors and others who came out to help this person, that is just an example of Minnesota being a place where we help our neighbors. And we are clear that the ICE agents have been coming here, and there's over 2,000 of them.
What point are you making there? There should be more. Because clearly they just need to arrest the people that are causing these problems to get the problems to stop. I guess you need to ramp those up. I guess they're rookie numbers.
And they've been attacking and terrorizing.
Attacking? What do you mean they're attacking? They're investigating and they're deporting, they're arresting, they're indicting, they're charging, they're detaining, they're investigating. No, this person, who is this person? Bob, this is a dude? Bobby Champion, Minnesota State Senator, Democrat, no surprise.
Of them. And they've been attacking and terrorizing.
This Bobby says that ICE is attacking people. ICE is investigating people, detaining, arresting people.
Our state. So yes, neighbors will come out and be helpful. I'm not certain if they had brooms or a shovel. That is to be further investigated.
If they did, in fact, have some sort of weapons to use to attack the ICE officer, would that change your opinion of whatever unfolded next?
Actually, no, right? Because from our vantage point, we wanted to make sure and always wanted to make sure that Minnesotans are being dealt with properly. And when we think in terms of any pursuit or any apprehension of anyone, there's a way for you to do your work where it's respectful and it's fair. We unfortunately have seen ICE not be respectful, not be fair, but to be illegal and to attack.
To be illegal. To not be nice and not be fair. What does that even mean? You think you're allowed to break the law and the people that snuck into the movie theater get to stay. They don't. That's not fair. It's very fair. For the reasons I've described before.
Personally have seen ICE not be respectful, not be fair, but to be illegal and to attack and to be very aggressive with Minnesotans. And to see that the federal government has made a decision to attack and send more and more agents here and allow them to be, allow them to misbehave, we think that's a tragedy and a travesty.
Oh, a tragedy and a travesty? Well, thanks for the clarification there, Senator Champion. Okay. Good stuff. Maybe this is one I could end with, or maybe I won't. I don't know. Elon, C3 said Minnesota fraud. Tim Waltz was in on it. Jacob Frey was in on it. Tina Smith was in on it. Elon says they all knew. We replied, they were the fraud. They didn't just know. Oh, yeah. Senator John Fetterman.
Border, and it was skyrocketing, and it's like, that's unsustainable. When you reach almost 300,000 people, that's unsustainable. And we need to, as a Democrat, It shouldn't be unreasonable to want to secure our border and do it in that way. And now let's also talk about ICE. Now, absolutely, again, what happened in Minneapolis was absolutely tragic. And then now, if you think, now this is from the Washington Post, this is the latest statistics. These are people that ICE now are, it's like now 67% have criminal charges, pending ones, or that. So that's more than 2/3. The people now there are some people that aren't involved in any kinds of illegal things, but so me, I think two things can be true. Round up all the criminals, deport them. They shouldn't have ever been here, and they definitely have to go. And now I don't want to see more and more things happening in Minneapolis now too. So two things must be true. And I strongly reject the extreme on either side, about this now. So we must be true. And, I watched you earlier in your show. You just pointed out President Obama deported, millions of people, and there wasn't having the same kind of outrage here, here is from Democrats.
That is so true. And I appreciate that he said that. Fetterman makes some sense sometimes. In this incident that people are now talking about, Yesterday at 6:50 p.m., federal law enforcement officers conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Joe Biden in 2022. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The suspect then fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot, attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, two subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals, the original subject got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. All three subjects ran back into the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and subject are both in the hospital. Both attackers are in custody. This attack on another brave member of law enforcement took place while Minnesota's top leaders, Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey, are actively encouraging an organized resistance to ICE and federal law enforcement officers. Their hateful rhetoric and resistance against men and women who are simply trying to do their jobs must end. Federal law enforcement officers are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them as they put their lives on the line to arrest criminals and lawbreakers. So we got a bit of a problem, people. We got a bit of a problem. That's funny. John Fetterman, lately he's turning into Senator Betterman. Can't find a Fetterman. What is this? Pam Bondi reveals that she did something with some prosecutors in Minnesota.
In Minnesota. What happened in Minnesota? We had 6 prosecutors who suddenly decided they didn't want to support the men and women in ICE. One of them was busy doing a photo shoot with the New York Times while ICE was out there risking their lives. So they came, they said, we want to resign, but we want to use our annual leave up until April, meaning they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. So the breaking news tonight, I fired them all. They're fired from the office. And our U.S. attorney there, Rosen, he's great. He was just confirmed 3 months in Minnesota.
Okay. You got to do more, though. What is this? Qatar is rejecting, according to Globe Observer, Qatar is rejecting U.S. use of its air bases on its soil for military action against Iran. Doesn't Qatar have an air base on U.S. soil now? So if that's true, shouldn't we squash that deal? I don't know. What say you? Is it even accurate? Mark Levin says that Qatar's brutally vile monarchy. Shove your base and get your money out of my country. Levin is not a fan of Qatar. Bob France calls him Qatar. What is it? Tucker Qatarlson. A lot of alliances. All right, so let's go through what happened. Vivid reporting. I'm so confused about why nothing happened last night. By the way, I was getting reports that the pizza orders had drastically increased, and that usually means an all-night operation. And that's what happened right as Venezuela popped off. Almost like you can, if you see it, it's an indicator that there's going to be an attack around D.C., around the, what is it, the Pentagon, I believe. So did President Trump order a last-minute pullback to prepare a bigger, more decisive strike? There's no way he believes the killing is stopped in Iran. No idea what's going on, but hopefully help is on the way. Dr. Eli David says the U.S. signaled an imminent attack, which triggered a full Iranian mobilization. What's the gain? Well, now you have critical intelligence on radar sites, defense protocols, and leadership locations. Prediction? The U.S. will use these insights to perfect its actual strike plan, and it will take another few days. Keep your eyes peeled on Iran. Let's see the border, just so you know. It's bordering Afghanistan, Kuwait, by United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, right by Syria. Defense Index says breaking planned U.S. strike on Iran reportedly halted at the last minute. A planned U.S. military strike on Iran was reportedly called off just minutes before execution, after Donald Trump personally intervened, according to Walla military analyst Amir Bobat. Iranian airspace has since reopened, while assets scrambled from Al Udeid Air Base were ordered to return and remain on standby. The mission was halted at the final stage. Trump has told advisors he will only authorize military action that delivers a clear, decisive outcome. Officials reportedly warned that a strike could not guarantee regime collapse and that the U.S. may lack sufficient regional assets to counter a large-scale Iranian retaliation. Didn't we see them threatening President Trump's life yesterday? I thought I shared that in the stories. Mario Knopfel reporting that at the last minute, Trump apparently almost greenlit a strike on Iran late last night and then pulled the plug minutes before. Iranian airspace reopened, forces. Okay, okay, I guess he's just restating what I just read. Don't step on the thing, bud. Here, come on. What did you, okay, there we go. Wait, what? What happened? Hold on, you can't see me now. Nimbus, what did you step on? What is playing? What is that? Nimbus stepped on something and got rid of my camera. Oh, Nimbus, buddy. Good grief. Let me turn my computer, or let me turn the keyboard off. Turn it back on. Like, get the camera to work? Nimbus. Oh boy, let me hit refresh. Green screen. Bar scene. I'm back. Good grief. Nimbus. Man. What you doing? What you doing, bud? Anyway. That is actually Nimbus is going, it's time. You've done a good show, buddy. You've done a good show. It really was some button somewhere. I had to turn it off and turn it back on. Marion, when your audio was getting weird, turn it off, turn it back on. Hit refresh. Like, when in doubt, hit refresh. The on-off of my keyboard did not fix it, but the refresh on Restream did. So there you have it. But that's the big news story that I wanted you to hear about Iran. Also, Irfan Soltani. I'm not sharing the screen anymore. Let me put this back up. A young Iranian arrested after Thursday's protest who was sentenced to D was not executed yesterday thanks to massive international mobilization. His family was told the execution had been postponed. Now Iran's judiciary claims he was never sentenced to death at all. This is Khamenei's regime backing down under pressure, keeps speaking up for Iran. It's working. I don't know, man. Hen Mazig reporting that. BRICS News reporting that Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia helped stop a U.S. strike on Iran last night. Mike says U.S. needs to stop getting influenced by jihadi funding terrorist countries like Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Saudi and Qatar are just threatened because a strong secular Iran is a threat to the oil hegemony they have in the region. They could care less if 1 million Iranians are killed tomorrow. They also remember that Saudi Arabia has been bombing African countries nonstop for years, killing hundreds of thousands of civilians in the process. I don't know if that's exactly true, but there you go. That's what people are saying. Hey, here's the first look at Sophie Turner as Lara Croft in the upcoming Tomb Raider live action series. Okay, so it's going to be a series, not a movie. I think I mistakenly glanced at that and said it was going to be a movie. Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. Remember her? She's now going to be Lara Croft. Would you watch that? I don't know. I might take a look. Sophie Turner, everybody. Tim Waltz lights a match in a powder keg, according to Jim Ferguson. Oh, that's a lot, but it is important. What we just watched from Minnesota governor was not normal political speech. It was a speech designed to delegitimize federal law enforcement in the eyes of the public. Waltz did something extraordinarily dangerous. He told millions of people that ICE agents are not enforcing the law. They are kidnapping, hunting, and committing organized brutality. He compared federal officers to secret police. He accused them of racial targeting. He claimed they are abducting citizens in unmarked vans. Those are not policy disagreements. Those are criminal allegations delivered without evidence against armed federal officers operating in the middle of a high-tension environment. Then he went further. He told people to track ICE in their neighborhoods, film them, build databases on them, gather evidence for future prosecution. That is how you turn law enforcement into targets. When you tell a population the federal agents are criminals, then tell them to go identify, track, and document those agents, you are pouring gasoline on a fire. Waltz wrapped it in the language of peace, but the effect is the opposite. This is how you create chaos. This is how you invite confrontation, and this is how someone gets hurt. A governor's job is to cool a crisis, not radicalize it. And tonight, Tim Waltz chose to escalate. History shows us exactly how this kind of rhetoric ends, and it never ends well. An absolute buffoon, busted with his hand in the cookie jar, committing treason. Savannah Hernandez, who we've met on multiple occasions out in the field, says Charles Foner. It's a 5-minute report, but I think she can tell you in the beginning. Let's let her talk.
This is Savannah Hernandez outside of the Queens Criminal Courthouse in New York City, where I just attended the sentencing for Charles Foner, the 67-year-old retiree who was just sentenced to 4 years in prison after defending himself from a 15-time career criminal here in New York City.
That is insane.
Now, if you're not familiar with the story of Charles, basically back in 2023, a 15-time career criminal with a history of mental illness.
Oh, this is insane. I watched this. There's no way you could send this guy to jail.
Ended up threatening him and lunging at him. Charles, who had a handgun in his pocket, which he had, by the way, because of his fears of rising crime throughout the city.
We're all allowed to have handguns in our pockets. You kidding me? This is America. We have a Second Amendment right to not allow ourselves to become a victim.
Ended up pulling out his weapon, telling this man to stop. He did not heed the warning. He continued to lunge at Charles. Charles opened fire and ended up killing him. Now, interesting thing about this case is that the DA of Queens, Melinda Katz, did not bring forth homicide or manslaughter charges because even her office agreed that this was a clear-cut case of self-defense. However, what they did decide to...
Why would they charge him in the first place? He should have never even been charged.
...charge Charles for was criminal possession of a weapon.
It's not illegal to possess a weapon. What are you talking about?
And then after this incident happened, the police went and searched his home, and they found what they stated is an arsenal of unlicensed weapons. Now, I want to say he had about 30 other guns in his home, and Charles's attorney stated that Charles has been shooting guns since he was a kid. Charles has no criminal history, and he has been around guns his entire life.
As so many of us have been. That's not a crime.
However, because he was in New York and these were unlicensed, the DA decided to bring forward these charges.
Oh, that is such bullshit.
Now, something else I want to bring up is there was a case that was very similar to what happened to Charles with a 69-year-old homeless man on a subway in New York who ended up killing somebody in self-defense. Now, this homeless man ended up getting attacked by 5 illegal immigrants, and he used a knife to fight off his attackers, and he ended up stabbing and killing one. Again, Melinda Katz's office decided that this was a clear-cut case of self-defense and decided not to press any charges at all, and that case has since been dropped. Very similar to Charles's case, the main difference here, though, is, of course, the weapon used. Instead of using a gun to defend himself from criminals, this homeless man used a knife, and the DA did not bring forward those charges. So I spoke to Charles's attorney, who was present today, who stated that this is one of the saddest cases that he's ever worked on. To understand how this has impacted Charles, here's what he had to say.
I don't think justice was served on the macro level. You know, we've said consistently our position is that Charlie is not without fault. He possessed firearms that he wasn't lawfully allowed to possess. The question is one of proportionality. Prosecutors have...
This is a guy that had never committed a crime.
Essentially absolute discretion in these situations. They exercised some of that discretion to give Charlie a sentence that was less than what he would have faced at trial. They exercised some of that discretion in ultimately not charging you with homicide.
Yeah, but why didn't it go to, did it go to trial, or was it just a judge that decreed a penalty? I'm a little...
But the question is whether the ultimate sentence was proportional, whether it was necessary to send someone of Charlie's age, given his lack of history of any violence, the impeccable life he's led, to an upstate prison sentence where we continue in this city and other cities throughout the United States watch recidivist violent offenders.
Thank you. You're letting all these scumbags out, and you're putting this guy away.
Given second, third, fourth, fifth chances from the criminal justice system. And in Charlie's case, he was not a person of means. He's lived a very middle-class, working-class lifestyle. As a result of this prosecution, he's had to sell the home that him and his wife had strived for years.
This is disgusting. He had to sell his home. He can't even defend himself. It's bankrupted him. All because some fucking scumbag attacked him when he was out for a cigarette. I can't stand when the good guys are hurt. In the let's not go that way, but yeah. Let's go this way. I can't stand when they bend over backwards to help the bad people, and they go out of their way to harm people that aren't a problem.
To finally own his Social Security benefits, which really, given his age, make up a disproportionate amount of whatever income he has in retirement, will stop while he's in prison.
His Social Security stops when he's in prison?
And of course, as I alluded to before, there's the psychological, emotional, mental impact, the separation from family. I've been practicing law and criminal law for 25 years. I've tried cases in Iraq in a courtroom where there were explosive devices going off outside the courtroom. I have never, as a military veteran, I've never seen or been part of a case as sad and as tragic as this one.
Now, the judge in this case stated that Americans have been very vocal about this case, calling her office, leaving voicemails, sending in emails on behalf of Charles. However, she highlighted how she was not responsible for the charges brought forward in this case. Again, that rested with the DA and her office. And
screw you, Melinda Katz.
Basically, they had Charles choose between a trial by jury and
Why didn't he go to the trial, though? I would have gone to trial.
To 25 years in prison for these unlicensed handguns and criminal possession of a weapon, or he could take this plea deal for a minimum of 5 years in prison that his attorney actually negotiated down to 4. So he was officially sentenced today. He is now in custody, going to be spending 4 years in a state prison after defending himself from a career criminal here in New York City. And one of the most memorable arguments that his attorney brought forward.
All you got to do is watch this footage and go, leave this guy alone.
Today in these closing statements was that perhaps Charles would not even have had the opportunity to be on the stand today if he didn't have his gun to protect himself. Perhaps it would have been Cody Gonzalez, his assailant with 15 prior arrests and a history of mental illness, who would have been here instead. So an idea of what crime is looking like in New York City, what self-defense is looking like in New York City, and of course, what gun rights look like in New York City.
Flee blue cities, flee blue states. Been telling you for so long. Flee blue cities, flee blue states. David Band says last night NORAD Space Command had live drills over DC from midnight to 2 a.m., did they? Kenneth, Biden was asked about Iran. He replied, Iran? but I run so far away. So I ran. Yep, that is an injustice, Marion. It is BS, Droopy Dog, Kenneth. A Trump pardon needed here. State, federal charges. I actually don't know if that's even I don't know how it exactly works. This is not okay. Not okay with this. So those are just some of the things happening in the world today. We'll be back again tomorrow at noon discussing the other stuff that we find tomorrow. Whew, it's been a heck of a week, people. Thank you. New Dork City. What kind of dork is going to prosecute this old man who didn't want any problems with anyone? He didn't cause any problems for anyone. Why are you doing this? If you want to get bent out of shape for, you had a, what do you need to register your voice to use your First Amendment? Why do you need to register your what are we even doing? Why are we doing this? Why are people being punished? It doesn't make sense. None of it makes any freaking sense. Yeah. It's thank you for the report, Savannah. I remember covering that story, and it's that he's not getting in trouble for self-defense, but now because we've snooped around every aspect of your life, show me the man and I'll find you a crime. Well, we can't allow someone to defend themselves in New York City. We better make an example out of him some way. Find something. Aha. We gotcha. Not okay with it. They need to commute that. They need to just suspend a sentence. You've bankrupted this guy. This is garbage. This part makes me so upset. But anyway, first thing you got to do is talk about it. Then you got to see if you can find a solution through it. So that report sheds a lot of insight into it. Marion saying, good show. Actually, great show. Well, thank you. That was an upgrade. I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here today on the program. Back tomorrow at noon, as I said. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Tell people that we have a great time here and encourage them to jump in. Signing out for everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.